Alrighty, here we are then. Hello and welcome everybody into Slipstream, the 2.4 hours of Suzuka, brought to you by yours truly, Sensational TV. I am Lindsay Model in the commentary box, and I will be soon joined by Zach O'Reilly at some point, and we are about to kick off qualifying action. Currently, the top of the practice session is a 2 minutes flat, set by Kevin, and I would try and pronounce that last name, but I feel like I am going to butcher it, so I'd feel bad. And yeah, there's a lot of Lexuses on the grid tonight, which is something I'm noticing. We got a briefing real quick, so yeah, that's fine. Um, so yeah, we are about to tick over into qualifying action. Briefing is currently going on, but yeah, a lot of Lexuses, a few BMWs, even an Audi in there, a few Ferraris, a little bit of a mix of everything. We have a big grid tonight as we head into qualifying. A 2.4-hour event after qualifying is all said and done. So there is a lot to look forward to. Zach O'Reilly will be joining me, I had to guess, in about 40 minutes, but maybe not. I'm not sure what his timeline is. He just told me at some point. So practice has ticked 0, so people just getting in final little moments. So yeah, P1, Kevin, I'll go for it. Kevin Druin. I'm going to say Druin. I don't know, someone will correct me. And then we have Castellana. I've also probably butchered that one. In P2, but currently driving that car. I'm not sure. Then we have Jaden Lee. As I'm currently having a mare with last names. Jaden Lee. I'm just gonna call him Jaden Lee because I know Jaden actually. Uh, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Oh, this is gonna be a fun night, isn't it? A lot of me just trying to figure out how to pronounce stuff. How good. Anyway, we're now just in briefing mode, so it is showing FP2. I imagine nobody's allowed to go out and drive in this session, but yeah, so Suzuka, good circuit. I love it here. You know, you can't ignore Sector 1 being really popular for the S's, and then you've got bits like Spoon and 130R, and then the Casio Triangle as well. All really iconic spots. Some good racing around here I've had in the past, I've watched in the past. All the way around, it's normally a good night when Suzuka's being raced, especially here in the GT3s. Personally, I think they're not the most fun thing to drive around the circuit, but they're the most fun thing to race around the circuit, because you can just get wheel to wheel so much easier than, say, a Formula 1 car where there's so much dirty air. But yeah, Suzuka is quite special, and it looks like we got quite a cool track, so fast lap time should pump in come qualifying time. So a 2-minute flat was the fastest time in the practice. I'd expect somewhere in the 59s for qualifying when we actually get underway. So let's take a look down the leaderboard. We have a mix of teams here. We've got single-person teams, we've got two-person teams, and then that's it. So a few people will have driver changes, a few people won't. 2.4 hours is quite tricky to do solo, but definitely doable. If you're a person who's ever done a triple stint before, it's similar to that. Or even just a double, but you just got to get past that final little slump. So we have Craig Dawson, Mark Stevens, Varun Tularam, Mike Lewin, Grant Begg, Phil Turner, Mark Fuchs, Charles. Oh man, poor Charles. I I actually didn't know his last name until this point because he has about a billion different things. He has Bertoni in certain Discord servers, and then Bayern, I'm gonna say, Pano, Ballant Jaeger, Kevin Druin, Chris Fraser, Tom Grantham, Hayne Lewis, GC8, which I think might be the team name because it's not showing as the person behind the wheel. But yeah, no, I know the last name. I just don't know how to pronounce it. My problem isn't the last names; it's just the pronunciation. Takamichi, Miles Johnston, Ahmet Vladimir Beluga, Lee Perkins, Race Life, and Benny Hignett. So those are the drivers that I can see on the leaderboard at the moment. A few mispronunciations aside. Let's take a run through the cars. So we have 3 Ferraris, 3 McLarens, 4 BMWs, 1 Bentley, 1, 2, 3 Lexus, 1 Rita Engineering Lamborghini Gallardo, a Mercedes, an Audi, and a Porsche. So a bit of a mixed grid tonight, but definitely still a few outstanders. The Lexus was the car dominating most of them. So still just waiting on the green flag action, so probably still another 10 minutes. So let's run through the one, the only Suzuka circuit. Don't be annoying. I had a spreadsheet set up and it's not loading. There we go. So turn 1 and 2 is just called like the first turn. And then you have the S's from turn 3 all the way until turn 7 before you have a Dunlop curve. So very famous. It's a left, right, left section from turn 3 to turn 7. Very, very fun. Very testing. You've got to be on the limit through there. That is where most of the lap time is. Then you head into Degna 1 and Degna 2 through turn 8 and turn 9. Very high speed through the right. You've got to have a lot of confidence through the first Degna. And then the second one, you got to slam on the brakes the second the car's in a straight line. And then tip it through. And then you head into the hairpin, turn 10 and 11. It's not much to it, just the fact that there's a right-hand kink on the entry, which can make it tricky in cars with no ABS, but these GT3 cars do have ABS. And then you have the long right-hander into turn 12 as you head into then Spoon Curve, as now I think qualifying action is ready. So, briefing is done. This is where the fun begins, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get cracking and underway in this qualifying session. So the first car out on track, who is it going to be? Is not going to be Mark Stevens. It's going to be the Audi of Ohm. So here we go. The Audi first out on track, followed by one of the BMWs. There's a little bit of a train, then one of the Lexus and a Ferrari. We'll learn who they all are as the session goes on. Currently just looking with Ohm, the Audi, I believe, was in the top 6 in the first practice session, or the only practice session heading into this qualifying. So now it's just going to be about 30 minutes of pushing the car, and it is quite testing to have such a long qualifying session, but you've also then got time to make mistakes, push the limit of the car just that bit further. You've got to have run plans as well. You can't just go, because you'll have too much fuel in the car for 30 minutes to set a qualifying time. So you've got to go out, do a few laps, come back in, go again, new tyres, less fuel, etc., etc. as you build up to the final push laps, which is where it'll really get entertaining. But at the moment, we're just looking at the bankers, which you can't fail the bankers. It has to be the one that works. And yeah, you've got to get it right, because having a banker on the board is so confidence-inspiring heading into the final runs. So whether it be now or the middle runs that you use as a banker, you've got to have it on the board. Otherwise, it just will not work. So 130R is really tricky in these GT3s from my experience, because the car can get quite unsettled and unstable, but you got a lot of track to use around this circuit. It is edge of the curb track limit, so heading into the Casio triangle, this is now where you've really got to focus. So here we go, the first lap in this qualifying session is now underway, and we are here off board with Ohm as he goes to push around this circuit. So turn 1 and 2, fully committed into the first right-hand kink, a little bit of brakes, and then trail through the second one, and you got to be really late on the throttle. The car's just got to rotate and then get it back across as fast as you can. You now head into the famous S's. Full commitment through the left. Don't run wide off the right, because it'll compromise your line for the rest of the S's. Just get over to the left-hand side curb and then double apex. This long right-hander if you can. A little bit wide there as you now head through into the Dunlop curve. Don't go out wide. The car will not like the grass and gravel that you are met with as now you head into the Degners. So through the fast right or the curb on the entry that the car will handle. Then slow it up, check it up for the second one. Use all the curb on the exit as you now wind up through this right-hander up the hill into the hairpin. Smash the brakes as late as you dare. Get it tipped through. You don't necessarily have to make the apex with all the camber. You can go a little bit wide, but not as wide as he just went, as he now makes his way towards Spoon Curve. This little right-hander straight, I guess you could call it, sort of, it feels like it goes on for a century, but then you hit the brakes into Spoon. Not much margin for error on the entry, with no entry curbs, just the grass to be met with. And use all of the curb on the exit. That AstroTurf, however, is slippery, so you've got to be careful about where you place your car throughout that corner. And if you don't nail the trail braking, you will lose a lot of lap time. And then just full commitment here. Trust the minimal downforce GT3 cars have. Don't take too much of the inside curb, otherwise you will be flying off into the outside barrier. As braking into the Casio triangle, use all the track that you dare, and then tip it through the corner. And now out of the final corner now. What's the opening lap time of this qualifying session going to be? It is going to be... The line's very late. A 59.6, so already well into the 59s, so already beating the practice set times, but it wasn't a valid lap, so still a little bit more to be had. But yeah, 59.6, very, very pacey. So that Audi's definitely going to be up there when it comes to this qualifying session in the race, so the Audi doesn't like to hold on. As Lewin takes provisional pole with a 2-minute 2 flat. What about race life? What does he have to offer here in the 2.96? As Lee Perkins, 201.3, sets provisional pole position now as the Ferrari's coming up towards the line. Can he get anywhere near provisional pole as he makes the long run towards the line? P4, so not quite enough at the moment. Dawson in the Ferrari as well. He's making his way through Spoon. Just got to keep the power in. And then just head down this straight. Into 130R, we'll go on board. Just so much commitment and trust in the car is involved there. Through that corner, you've really got to have it hooked up on the knife's edge. It's now through the Casio triangle. We'll jump back off board and just hold it ever so tighter than you would normally setting up the lap as you now make your way towards the line, which is very late in GT World Challenge compared to, say, in Formula 1 where the line is very, very early on. As we'll now move to Kane Lewis, who's currently on a lap in the McLaren. He's heading through the S's. Let's go on board with him as he makes his way around this lap of Suzuka. So here we go, on board with the McLaren 720S as he's making his way now towards the Degners. Ohm pumps in a 59.3, 1.9 seconds clear of the lot at the moment. So he's going to need, as Bayern goes into P2, now 1.1 seconds off, but still a lot of drivers still yet to set lap times from P9 all the way to P19. Still in the hunt for a qualifying lap in this session, and there's got to be some more drivers up there. I saw it in the practice, but that Audi seems to have another level. As hello Ron, it's good to have you. Zach will be joining me at some point soon. Just not, I don't think, throughout this qualifying session or the first 10-ish minutes of the race. If I'm accurate on that one, it depends. I know he's doing stuff for AK. So anyway, still watching on with the McLaren. Kane Lewis giving it a good push here as he heads into 130R. Let's see how he takes it as Druin, who was P1 for a lot of the practice session, goes P2. 8.5 tenths behind Ohm. As here we go into the Casio triangle, over the right curb, over the left curb. Looked like a little bit of a scruffy run there. Maybe a little bit early on the brakes, actually, by the looks of it. As now to the line in the McLaren. Just keep the foot in all the way until you reach the line. And it's a 2:03.2, but it was not valid. So unfortunate for him, as Craig once again coming up towards the line now. Goes P4, 1.3 seconds off provisional pole. As one of the ERD cars, Tom Grantham, is currently on an outlap. So he is yet to start a lap. We'll stay with him as he is about to start his first flying lap. In this session, the tyres probably won't be fully up to temp, but they will be good enough for a push. Suzuka's quite a long lap in a GT3 car, as we're seeing, about 2 minutes, roughly. Just a bit under in qualifying trim. So here we go. We'll go a full onboard lap here. So we'll go into the cockpit of Tom in the ERD BMW. Stab of the brakes, fourth, third. Goes all the way down to second. The inline six revving out just a bit there through the downshifts. Get it across. And then just tip it through. You've got to be really gentle here in a GT3. Otherwise the car just will not hold up over the left-hand side curb. And then double apex it, and then you slam the throttle here, and then lift again through the left-hander, and then now flat out through the Dunlop curve into the Degners. 50-meter board, dub the brakes, not using all the curb available there. This is his banker lap though. So he's not going to be giving it absolutely everything. We'll see all of the lap times ramp up and get even quicker and more committed throughout the rest of this session. There's still nobody within even 8.5 tenths of Ohm at the moment who still sits on provisional pole. A couple of drivers still yet to set laps, a few of the Lexus, Sam Austin yet to set a lap, but still that's quite a big margin even for opening runs to have. So he'll be quite confident with himself in that Audi. But something to note is that the Lexus is really, really, really quick in a straight line. So if they get him off the start, then it'll be very hard for him to re-overtake. But anyway, heading into the Casio triangle now. Tom giving it a good go as he heads through over the right curb, over the left curb. And then now the run towards the line, power out. Make sure the rear of the car doesn't complain. It's never going to in a BMW. So now across the line, P7 for the BMW. What about Sam Austin in the Lexus? He's pushing as he makes his way now towards 130R. Last lap time, his opening lap time invalid, a 2:10.7. As he now makes his way into 130R. Full commitment there from the Pit Viper Motorsport car. As he misses the apex there at the Casio triangle. But now up towards the line. This is where the Lexus gets to stretch its legs in a straight line. It's a bullet. And now, across the line. Will it be inside the top 5? Don't think it was valid, but it was a 2-minute flat .8. So 1.5 seconds off of P1. So it would have been about P5, actually, dead on. So he'll give this another push now. As we'll go back to one of the other Lexuses and let's go on board. Because what an engine noise this car makes. Absolutely roaring. The only car that sounds better on the grid is the Porsche, in my personal opinion. An Audi in P1, impossible, says Maddie. Yeah, well, I thought so too, but clearly not. But now Charles heading towards the line in one of the other Pit Viper Motorsport cars. Oh, a bit of a snap there on the exit. The Lexus just complaining a little bit as he's heading up now towards the line in the 100 car. Is it going to be an improvement? It's P3. So a 2-minute .690. Actually, no. He was already P3. That's not an improvement. It was a 10th slower than his best lap time at the moment. Kevin in the other Lexus, who currently sits P2, not on a push lap. He did improve, though. He's now only 6/10 behind the Audi, but it looks like Ohm has an untouchable lead at the moment. Still 17 minutes to go in qualifying, but he's absolutely flying compared to the rest of the grid. Something magical is going to have to happen here for things to shake up and change. Is Druin now going for another push lap, or is he coming into the pit lane? I think he's going for another push, so let's see what he has on display in the Lexus. We've seen a few of them go around the track at this point, but none of them being this man right here, the man in P2. He needs to find 6 and a bit tenths to get to Ohm, but the Lexus is not the sharpest around a hot lap, to be completely honest. It is a bit of a tugboat, but it is fun to drive and it has a lot of straight line speed, so these drivers are wringing the neck out of it to find the pace. Heading through the S's, just a little bit of understeer, but the car not complaining too much. Through the long right-hander now, and then just flick it back across through the left, full commitment. It's through the Dunlop curve now and towards the Degners. Let's see what the P2 car does commitment-wise through here. 50 board, chuck it over the right-hand side curb. There we go. That's more like it. Second gear. Oh, that's a big snap, and he's off the track at the second Degner. And that's really unfortunate. He was sitting 3/10 up, so he would have gotten himself so close to Ohm if that hadn't gone wrong. Really, really unfortunate there, as we'll now look to Phil Turner in the BMW as he's making his way around the circuit and towards Spoon Curve. Just hooking it up nice and tidy there. Now just completely flat out up towards 130R, but you got to be fully committed here to make it work. So let's see, all the way out to the white line on the entry, and then flick it across the curb, all the curb on the exit as well, and now into the Casio triangle pretty much immediately on the brakes. Maddie saying, where is all the Mustangs? You're not on the grid, so all the Mustangs evaporated. No, I don't know. I don't know how strong the Mustang is here around Suzuka. You wouldn't think it to be too competitive around here. I would have thought a car like the Ferrari or the McLaren would have been really, really quick at Suzuka. Just from my recent memory of, well, not even recent memory, my my vague memory of the Suzuka 12-hour OR ran many, many years ago. I feel like at this point, probably 2 years ago, I ran the Ferrari 296. Which is where my hatred for the Ferrari began, but that's another story for another day. We are halfway through this qualifying session now, and we are currently looking at the ERD Motorsports 377 car, currently driven by Tularam in the McLaren 720S. He currently sits 1.5 seconds off of Ohm in provisional pole position, and he's currently down on his previous best by about 1/10 of a second, but as he goes around this lap, that is shaving off back towards that even sort of margin. but he needs to find a bit more, and he's made a mistake on the exit there as well. He now sits 3/10 down on his previous best lap time. Still a few people struggling to get the lap times close to Ohm, 59.3. Definitely not an easy yardstick, but they need to close it up a bit. Otherwise, that's going to set the tone for the race dramatically. That Audi was only P4 in the practice session, so still a little bit more to be found by the looks of it. But here we go. Tularum sits 5/10 down at the moment. It's unlikely he improves. But let's see what he has into 130R. Full commitment there, but still no time gain. So not enough for him at the moment. What about Lee Perkins? He currently sits dead even on his previous best as he's making his way now through the Casio Triangle and now the final corner. And I don't know. It's going to be very close to an improvement, but I'm not sure. Currently sits with a 201.2 as he heads towards the line. It's looking like it could be pretty dead even here as he crosses the line. And it is just a lower 0.2. It's almost a 0.2 flat there for the BMW. But only a couple hundredths improvement. As Chris Fraser in the BMW makes his way across the line, moves up into P12. Benjamin Hignett still yet to go out onto the circuit. Druin in the Lexus is on another lap. The P2 sitter was 3/10 up heading into the Degners last time around, and then he spun it, or nearly spun it, on the second Degner and returned back through the pit lane. So let's see what he has in the grand scheme of things now. Full commitment through Degner 1, now into Degner 2. Is it still going to be a 3/10 gain out of there? No, he's only a 10th up, so not as good as his previous attempt through the first sector as he now makes his way into turn 10, the hairpin, and now 11. It's the uphill right, that's 10. The hairpin, that's 11 for those wondering. Now through the very, very long right-hander that's completely flat out. May as well be a straight, heading into Spoon Curve. Then just pick your braking point on the entry to Spoon. Get it through the first left, take it out wide, and then just get the car tipped through the long left to exit the curve, and now down the straight. This is where the Lexus excels. Druin currently sitting 2/10 up. However, though, we do have a new competitor who, well, he's not even a new competitor, but he currently sits P3. Castellana currently sitting 6/10 up. That'll break him into the next region of lap times. That would break him into the 159s, which Druin is about to also break into. So let's see what he has across the line. It's looking like it's going to be a 59.8, still quite a ways away from Ohm, but as he crosses the line now, what's it going to be? It's going to be a 59.8, 4.5 tenths behind Ohm still, who has a chokehold on this session at the moment. But Castellana's arrived on the scene, and he currently sits a second up. That would put him to a 0.5 and only a 10th and a bit behind Ohm, who currently sits on provisional pole. So the challenger for Ohm might have finally arrived. We've been waiting for about 20 minutes, but here we go towards the line in the Lexus. It's a long run towards the line. What's it going to be for Castellana? Oh, the Delta was lying to me. A 2-minute 0.2, and we've got to love when the Delta lies and gives you false hope. But 4.5 tenths behind Ohm at the moment is Druin, so he'll be the one to keep an eye on. Ohm currently struggling to improve on his best lap time, as we'll look to Lee Perkins in the BMW. He sits 2/10 up. He's currently looking to get a 2-minute 1 flat, unless he finds more time, in which he could be chasing the top 6 to try and get past Tom Grantham in the fellow BMW. As there's one thing about the BMWs, they're all bunched together. You have P6 and P7 together BMWs, P11, P12 together BMWs, and then only a car in between those two and Fiuna in the 909 BMW. Perkins currently sitting 3/10 up at the moment as he makes his way now onto the straight and towards 130R. If he has a good final sector, he could try and get into the top 6, and if he finds even more than that, he could be inside the top 5, but still a little bit more probably required. As Perkins now breaking into the Casio Triangle. Let's get it hooked up. Misses the first curb, but finds a lot of time under braking, but will he lose it again under exit? I think he will. Yes, he evens back out. In fact, he only sits a 10th up. He lost time through the Casio Triangle, but now Lee Perkins heading towards the line now. What's it going to be? Is it going to be a 201 flat? Just about a 201 flat, 097. Still P7 though. He needs to find a little bit more than that as this session goes on. The current provisional pole sitter just returned to the pit lane. Craig Dawson in the Ferrari, giving it a push at the moment. Currently sitting a 10th down through the S's. So the Ferrari, no, he's lost a lot of time in the first sector. He won't be improving on this attempt in Druin as well as in the gravel and off the road. Let's look to Toolerum at the moment in the 377 McLaren ERD. Making his way around the circuit. Currently sits dead even on his 2-minute flat, 0.8. He wants to find about a 10th and a half to try and get inside the top 5 ahead of Craig Dawson. So Toolerum giving it a good go at the moment. As the track actually looks like it might have heated up a bit, but I'm actually not sure because I forgot to check the temps and when the quali session started. But compared to practice, the temps have gone up by a few degrees, but it makes too much of a difference into 130R. Oh, it's a bit of a wobble there, and he loses 2/10 through 130R and even more into the Casio triangle. But it looks like he's focused on the exit this time. He gains a bit of time back, but it's not going to be an improvement. Meanwhile, Castellana once again up, looking to break into the 59s, close to the fellow Lexus of Druin. So, Daniel Castellana into the Casio triangle. He's going to need a bit more commitment. Oh, he runs really deep there, and that is lap gone. It was looking so good to match Druin, and he throws it away, but at least he knows that the potential is there. To Druin, who currently sits in the pit lane, as well as the provisional pole sitter that sits in the pit lane of Ahmet Ohm, who's still just absolutely dominant in this qualifying session. Sam Austin in the other Lexus, currently on a lap, 1.6 seconds up to a 2:04.2 to be expected. Not a great lap time on the board at the moment. The Lexus needing to find a little bit more time if he wants to be a little bit more competitive, and he's continuing to gain as he makes his way into Spoon Curve. So, let's see what he can muster up. Currently 2.2 seconds up. That would put him on a 2-minute 2 flat. He needs to find a little bit more than that if he wants to be inside the top 10, because Mike Lewin currently has a 2 flat sitting in P10. So he needs to find a couple more hundredths past what he already has as he heads into the Casio triangle. Now 2.7 seconds up, 2.8 seconds up, 2.9 seconds up as he's making his way now towards the line in the Lexus. Where is Sam Austin going to place himself? He's cut it tight, he's cut it short. He's taken the qualifying line here as he makes his way across the line into P9. For Sam Austin, a big time gain. Hignett still yet to go out on the track. Actually, I'm not even sure Hignett's in the session. I'm not sure why he's showing on my timing tower. He's not even in the server. There's a couple of drivers still yet to set lap times. Takamichi and Beluga being the 2 drivers not to set a lap time. Castelluna once again on an improvement though in the Lexus heading into the final sector. This is where he found so much time last time. He was 4/10 up. He lost 2/10 through 130R, and I think as he heads into the Casio triangle, he's not going to be happy. He just can't hook up the final sector in this Lexus, and he's lost the time again at the final chicane every single time. He looks like he's going to get close to Druin. He just can't hook up the final sector, and it's going to fall apart for him once again. So head down once again, and away he goes. Still not ideal. Race Life in the Ferrari, making his way now towards the line as he is trying to find a spot inside the top 10. Can he do it? It looks likely as he makes his way across P11. Not quite with a 2019 as Mike Lewin falling down the order at the moment with his 2 flat that was P10 not too long ago. Sam Austin once again on a push. One of only 3 cars on the track that are doing a push lap at the moment. As a couple of drivers out on track, but not giving it a push, or they're about 20 seconds down on their delta, but more people starting to flow in lap times. Austin trying to find a bit more. He needs only 100th of a second to match Kane Lewis, the car in front of him, to move into P8. So he needs to find just a little bit more than that as he makes his way now out of the final corner and up towards the line. So it's a long run towards the line here at Suzuka on ACC. As he approaches the start-finish lights. There we go, 2015. No, 2017, not an improvement. Tularam once again on an improvement lap. Castelluna again on an improvement lap. I don't want to curse him heading into the final sector, so this time we're not going to stay with him as he makes his way around the lap. We'll just keep an eye on the timing tower. Mark Fuchs at the moment yet to set a representative push lap, and currently trying to do so with a 2:29. Yeah, a 2029. His previous best lap time. He'll need to find a bit more than that. His delta not showing representative at the moment, though, as once again Castelluna loses it at the final chicane. Cut the camera to him, and he's off at the Casio Triangle. Fiuna in the BMW, pushing into 130R. Needs to find quite a lot more time to get into a good position on the grid. There is 2 minutes to go in this qualifying session, so final pushes will be on the way any time now, as I actually think that Ohm and Druin might not go for one more. They think they found their limit already. Ohm set their .3 very early on in the qualifying session, and they've already called it quits for the night. As Fiuna to the line, P15 just ahead of Mark Fuchs, who's currently on a push lap. What about Grantham? He's heading through the Casio Triangle, dead even on his previous best lap time at the moment. He needs to find 4/10 to get to Castellana in P3, so he currently sits on the second row of the grid. Can he put himself to the front of the second row? No, 2 minute flat .5 for him, as the 1 and 2 cars are deciding not to go again. Castellana on an out lap. He's going to have one more go. I'm not sure if his tyres are going to be properly up to temperature, though, to try and move up into P2. Or lo and behold, if he really hooks it up, P1, but he's not showing that he has that sort of potential. He looks like he has the potential to potentially snatch the front row if he really hooks it up. Austin to the line. Goes P8, and that's going to be his final run in this qualifying session. Done. Lee Perkins currently pushing, sits 2/10 up, heading into the final 2 Degners. So the battle for pole, not too close, but the battle for these mid-pack positions is well and truly on at the moment, as Perkins making his way through the second Degner needs to find 2/10 of a second to get to Tularam. And right now he is currently sitting at 10th up, but it's going between that and dead even, so he needs to find a final % of lap time here to move into the top 6. Lee Perkins, he's going to have to make it all up in the final sector. He sits a 10th up. That won't be enough, and he's not particularly safe from behind either, as Lewis and Stevens still on laps, but they are quite far away from him, to be fair. So he should at least have P7 in the bag, but through Spoon, he finds a mozza of lap time. He currently sits 4/10 up as he's making his way towards 130R. That could place him significantly up the grid if all goes well. He could actually find himself with P5 when all is said and done, if he finds this lap time safely across the line into the Casio Triangle. 5/10 up. He's still finding more time, is Lee Perkins. He's giving it one proper final go here as the timer hits 0. That was his final opportunity. Where is he going to end up? It looks like it could be a top 5 finish here in qualifying for Lee Perkins as he makes his way towards the line now. P5 it is for Lee Perkins. Very impressive stuff. Castellana still on a lap. Grantham finishes P4. And it looks like Lee Perkins lost his top 5 to Grant Begg, who set a lap time. Oh, wait, no, that's a bugged leaderboard. He is still P5. My timing tower showing me wrong here on the external software I use. But Castellana still on a push lap. He needs to find 4/10 to get to Druin. Currently, he sits a 10th up. He's just not having that magical lap that he was having when he messed it up through the second Degner on one of his earlier laps. He was 3/10 up just through the first sector alone. Now he's really trying to push it just to find any 10th of a second, but he needs to find a lot more to move on to the front row, but P3 still not a bad qualifying result, but Ohm, I can pretty much confirm, is your pole sitter in this qualifying session from a lap set within the first 10 minutes of qualifying. That is such an impressive run from him. It's Castellana through 130R, not looking likely to improve at the moment. Yeah, it's not going to be an improvement here for Castellana. And across the line he goes, and that was the final person to set a lap. So, your final qualifying order. Ohm goes P1 from Druin, which was a dominant pole position from Ohm. Just controlled it from one of their earlier laps. Then Castellana, Grantham, Perkins, Dawson, Toolerum, Stevens, Austin, Lewis, Life, Lewin. Lewis and Lewin, sorry, I mixed them up. Fraser, Turner, Fiuna, Fuchs, Johnston, Begg, Jaeger, Takamichi, and it won't let me see the rest. So that is your final qualifying order after 30 minutes, and now we'll be heading to the 2.4 hour race, so 2 hours 24 minutes for any of those wondering how long 2.4 hours is that the man, the myth, the legend himself, my co-commentator Zach O'Reilly.
Good evening, Lindsay. Yes, it is. Good evening, all everyone out there in viewership land. Great to be here, and I can just see we've finished qualifying there, Lindsay. And bloody hell, that looked like a hell of a session there.
Yeah, it was, and Ohm just took it from control straight off the gate. 10 minutes in, set the pole up, and then never went out again.
Well, that's one way to do it. That's for sure. Just setting the bar early, but we are nearly ready to go here. I will give you the heads up as well, Lindsay, and viewers out there. I'll be around for 75% of this race. I'll have to jet off early, but great to have your company here on a Saturday night for Slipstream International here at Suzuka. Good grid too, Lindsay. 18 on the field and quite a good spread of competitors.
Yeah, it looked pretty close together in qualifying, so definitely have a little bit of a race, and I think the Lexuses will come a little bit closer to Ohm when race time comes, because the Audi, historically quite unstable, doesn't like to race, whereas the Lexus comes alive a bit more come race time with straight line speed, so it could be interesting to see that gap close up.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of GT3 racing, and also with the rest of them as well. In terms of just basically getting on pace, getting in that rhythm is so important. As a driver, myself and yourself, we know what it feels like to be in that flow state. And a lot of these gentlemen, with 2 hours and 24 minutes, really, to get this all sorted, it's going to be a test of who can keep that focus the best and stay out of trouble, and especially when it comes to pit strategies, nailing those as well.
Yeah, and as well as we will have some pairings that change up. So there are a few solo drivers, but there are also the complications of some people having teams. So come the pit stop window at some point in time in this race, probably about an hour in, we'll see a driver change. So that could also be something interesting to see who comes into it when the changes happen and who will be quicker and who will be slower.
Oh, well, there we go. You've got it all here. Sensational TVs bringing it to you, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a hell of a race coming up. Looking forward to this one, Lindsay Muddle. And with everyone starting to form up now with 16 seconds to go, that's where you get nervous. The hands get sweaty. The brain starts to tick over. And we get excited as it looks like nearly every car is just sort of jumping in and out at the moment. The drivers are set, ready to rock and roll for, is it a formation lap?
Yeah, it is a formation lap. So we do have rolling starts. So we'll just take a little look through the grid as the formation lap gets underway. So Ohm taking it away in the yellow and black Audi. Then you have Druin with the stock livery Lexus, so always love that one. And then the man, the myth, the legend himself. Oh, no, it's not. My timing tower is lying to me all afternoon, Zach. It's telling me it was Charles. I should know better, though. I should know that that's Castellana.
Goodness gracious me.
Yeah, look, it's not ideal. And then you have Grantham in P4 in the ERD BMW. Then you have Grant Begg. No, not Grant Begg. Lee Perkins. There we go. Sorry, timing tower again. in P5. Then you have Dawson in the Ferrari. Very nice custom livery on this one, actually. I highly rate it. Let's take a little look if I can get it to work. Does it want to work? No, I don't think it wants to work. It wants to let me look around, it just won't let me move around. Ah, it happens. Okay. Well, there's the livery off board anyway. We always love a good little bug and glitch when you're trying to do something.
Never ever works to plan, does it?
No, never does, especially when you're trying to do something that might actually look cool. It always just ends up making you look stupid instead.
I'll tell you what, just like in no different to in real life, Lindsay, every time I look at the camera, I get told I look stupid. So it's familiar territory for me, and I'm sure you've broken a few mirrors in your time looking through the reflection, so we both know what it feels like having that sort of behaviour. But the reverse is the case here on the track at the moment, with all of these beautiful manufacturers just rolling around: Audi, BMW, Lexus, Ferrari, McLaren, Porsche, Mercedes. It's just incredible. Bentleys as well there too. And right at the last, I cannot even see what that one is at the end of it. What is Takamichi in?
It's like a Gallardo. Hold on, let's...
Is it the Gallardo from Temu, is it?
It's the Rita Engineering.
And he's not on the grid. That's concerning. He has not progressed on the formation lap. This man, hopefully he's got the timing right here and he hasn't missed the jump. But at the moment, he's going to start from the pit lane. Not the best way to go about it here. So we're into the infamous back straight, as we've seen in a lot of history. Massive balls of steel coming through here in Formula One. Fernando Alonso, that with Michael Schumacher, and the difference was that Michael had a family and kids at home to go to, and Fernando did not. And that's going to be interesting coming up 130R, especially with the first flying laps here. It's going to be who's going to get it in front first, who's going to take it. But it looks like with 4.5 tenths of a second, as we saw in qualifying, that the old voltage meter out in front there is going to take it and electrifyingly jump the start and go his own way, I reckon.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it all comes to fruition in the practice session. Truman and Castellana are actually a little bit quicker, so we'll see how the Audi comes into it once the fuel is in the car. So 2 hours and 24 minutes ahead of us, and we are about to get underway for racing action as they go into double file at the Casio Triangle. God forbid, trying to hold side by side here on a formation pace is going to be pretty tricky, but yeah, a lot of overtaking zones around this circuit. 130R definitely being the riskiest of the bunch, but now we are going to be ready for green flag action. So the green flags ready to fly, the green lights ready to illuminate here as we get the helicam and they go single file 2x2, and then it just comes up to when Ohm gets the green lights and when he gets underway. So we've got to wait a while. This straight is actually quite long when the line is not at the start of the straight, but it's all going to be about timing. Will Ohm get the foot down quick enough, or will the Lexus straight line speed get the jump? Here we go. We should have green flag racing in just a moment. There it is, and we are underway. Ohm getting away well, but Druin also having a good start. Castellana trying to make it 3 wide in the middle. This is a bit of a pinch point. He backs out of it, but here we go. Druin tries the long way around. It doesn't work out for him. Ohm holds the lead, but here comes Castellana. It's Lexus on Lexus as they head into the S's, and he gets it done. Castellana making a jump here off the race start. Grantham as well, trying to get involved, trying to get past Druin, but it doesn't quite come to fruition for him. The BMW has a lot of time, so does everyone here, so they don't have to get too manic off the start, but I think it was an important overtake there for Daniel Castellana. He couldn't hook it up in qualifying lap after lap after lap, but it now comes together for him on the race start. But can he hold on as Ohm already running away up the road like Zach predicted? 9 tenths already over the rest of the field as all the timing towers come into it and get us back up and running, as we can see everybody dancing all over the place here on the timing tower at the moment. But Ohm is leading the race.
He is definitely, and he's taking command pretty early in this one. They've only been about halfway through the circuit, and he's already got nearly a second lead. So cracking stuff, flashing the lights there between the two Lexus drivers. Bit of a battle going on here. That is a McLaren versus another Lexus there having a good crack. That's Tolaram, and they're going for it now. Hammer and Tom side by side. Here we go. This is what we want to see early. Bit of battling, bit of gutso, bit of biffo as well if we can, but the McLarens come out in front. And that is all over by the shouting there at the moment. Samuel Austin's in this one too. Good to see Sam Austin. I think that is as well. Good to see you out there, my friend. Another Pit Viper aviator, basically, for him. And V8 Supercar sponsors too for a couple of teams. And he's driving around there in that very, very cool looking monster livery S coloured with a bit of Brandon Pierce from AK Racing involved there too, I reckon.
Yeah, it does look like it, actually. It looks strikingly similar to PSO's car. But, yeah, not too much going on here through the opening lap. Just a couple of scuffles for position as everybody's just got to settle into this 2.4-hour race. And that is the first lap done. And the Audi taking the lead by about 1 second to Castellana in P2. And Druin is going to be hunting their P2 back after losing it at turn 2 at this very corner.
Well, he's got to get his hip rhythm in straight away. Forget about what happened in that last stanza on the opening lap there. He's just got to get back in the rhythm and show where his pace shines. There will be definitely parts of the circuit where he is quicker and then negated also by Castellana too. So we got to remember that as well, viewers, that we have strengths and weaknesses, and there was one right there. You can see him now closing up through the first S's here. This is incredible stuff here from Druin. He is really flying. I'm predicting a P2 at some stage for him in this one, but I've got a long way to go. 2 hours and 21 minutes exactly to go in this one. And everyone's just petering into a bit of a rhythm. Timing Tower playing funny games again, but I did anticipate that there was something going to happen, and it probably wasn't going to be the amount of biffo we would see. Everyone's playing a long game, Lindsay.
Yeah, it does look like it, as there's a bit of a flash of the lights there from Castellana. I'm not sure exactly why, but already we did have one yellow flag moment from the 733 car of Lewis. He had a moment at turn 1, but it's a little bit too far away to now grab a replay. But yeah, Ohm running away, but it's going to be Lexus Civil War here by the looks of it in one of the other Pit Viper cars. Castellana behind the wheel. I do believe he does have the myth, the legend, Charles behind the wheel as his teammate potentially, which is why we see the Bertoni graffiti on the side of the livery as they head into 130R. No overtakes really going to be made unless they get a great run off a spoon curve. So now it's just all going to be about focusing on the Casio Triangle, which these two Lexus cars love to miss in qualifying, but when they're just easing off a little bit more, focusing head down in race mode, they are making their corner every time. So it's good to see that Castellana isn't just going to overshoot the corner drastically like he was in qualifying.
Yeah, well, he'll learn from that anyway in qualifying. You know where his limitations are, which is okay. He's just set a personal best for him there on that lap of 2:01.385. So not too far off the bigger voltmeter out in front there in ohms, but still 1.5 seconds is a fair way, and that's only after about 4 laps or 3 laps of racing really for these guys so far. So will they keep that advantage by the end of the fuel stint? We'll find out. And will those tyres be a little bit more comprehensive, I would say, at the end of the stint? If he's pushing fast at the front there, and being a bit greedy on those curbs, it's going to hurt the tyre life, and that could mean a little bit of a pace advantage now, but it's going to come to bite you back later. So we'll stick around for that and see what happens. But again, they're all racers. We're all human. There could be errors. Sam Austin's still flying around in 7th. Tolaram and Stevens are coming together as well. They're getting a little bit closer. I don't think Sam's a cork in the bottle situation here at the moment, but if these two start battling, it looks like Life and Fraser behind them will be very, very much involved, and this could be half a cent. No, it's not. He thinks about it. Just a little too far away at the moment. That was at the hairpin, but as we get out of the hairpin, still stalemate. A good 2 or 3 tenths of a second split between these two, but they are the closest ones on track to each other now, and that will be incentivizing for Life and Fraser coming up the arse end of them at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a little bit of a train action going on at the moment as these two battle. It looks like the 3 behind them are also going to be trying to get their noses in. And yeah, it was a slide. And now here comes Stevens on the McLaren, but the McLaren seems a little bit stronger in a straight line than the Ferrari, but it's just about very 2 evenly matched cars in a straight line by the looks of it. Even with Slipstream, Stevens just couldn't quite get there in a 130R move, and with 2 hours and 18 minutes to go in this race, probably not the right move. So he's going to lie in wait once again and see what he can make of it. Oh, that's a big mistake there from Tularam, and that's a big snap. Somehow manages to hold it together. That's actually really impressive stuff there from the McLaren, but his rear tyres will now be on fire, and Stevens Lucky to not get caught out by that one, but now he has an opportunity. He sees a chance into turn 1. He has the run as they make their way through the exit and into turn 1. The Ferrari pulls out to the right-hand side, but he can't get alongside, so he's going to have to live to fight another day. But Tularam all over the road by the looks of it. The McLaren all the way around the outside of the corner, and now here comes the Ferrari of Stevens again on the outside, but he's decided not to go for it. He's just not able to quite get the right move made. Tularam making mistakes at all the right times. You can make a mistake for people to still not be able to attack you, but in the background as well, you've got the likes of Race Life and Fraser now trying to get in, as well as Lewin in the 936 McLaren, all trying to join this battle because Tularam is making so many mistakes here, and Stevens is actually going to cop the brunt of it.
He is, but he's also going to have to contend with some aero damage too on the front. That is Hooper wide there too as well from Life. Nearly took that out of himself as well. It could have been ended, but he kept it on the track there just at the point of not. But now Fraser's got a really good chance. Lewin's trying to get on the back of this one too. And this is all over the top 10, ladies and gentlemen. Not even that. You can see what these guys are doing. Even Stevens as well is struggling and fighting. That is an error, I think, in the background there for Fraser. And that is Lewin gone straight past him. That was beautiful stuff out of the hairpin. He's going to be on the right-hand side of the track, the right side of the curb as well, coming in, and he overlaps there. Is there going to be a fight back here under brakes by the BMW? No, there's not. Beautiful stuff there. Good awareness, and that is good racing. Fair, clean, and hard there, and that is advantage now. Mike Lewin, I'll tell you what, he'll be stoked about that move, but now he's got a Slipstream to be worried about because that BMW is going to be super racy. Are they matched their ears? Look at them bump drafting each other down the straight. They go here into 130R. Not even a skin of your teeth between the two of them. Who's going to back out of it first? That would definitely be the BMW, but now he's gone wide there as Lewin as well. That would have hurt as also. These tyres will be a little bit hotter with that sort of sliding action. He gets it pulled up. Holy mackerel, in the Casino Triangle. The last curve coming up, and he's just managed to keep that one from a disaster. That was hairy at the finest, the far out. I cannot believe that Lewin kept that together. That's composure, ladies and gentlemen. Well done.
Yep, Lewin just keeping the car going in a straight line, barely. Fraser trying to get involved, but just not able to make the move, as GC8 as well in the background as well is now closing up. So a couple of battles, the theme being you battle, you get caught up to. So that's the looks of it at the moment in this little Suzuka race. But that's always the case, I feel like, at Suzuka. It's such a pinch point track. There's enough space to make an overtake, but you can't make an overtake without losing time, which is something to consider, as I wonder what's going on here. Ohm in P3.
Oh, no, he's had an error. He's had an error. You can tell he's full-on errored out of that one. Even the old timing tower's had an absolute nightmare there too, Lindsay Muddle. It's gone. But
no, this is me trying to find a replay.
Oh,
I didn't go. Yeah, no, that's fine. I didn't go back far enough.
Well, that doesn't matter. Ohm's in third place now. He's shocked himself, and that has resulted in losing the race lead at the moment. He's going to have to get right back on there and start inducing some spark into this one for sure, because he is right at the back of that three-car train now, and he used to be leading it. So a big, big disaster for him, and now it's all up to Druid, because he can smell blood, because he knows he's probably genuinely got some pace over Castellano in front. But I'll tell you what, at the moment, Daniel's not going to be giving that one up without a fight, and that is the gap between him and second place. That is Mr. Ohm, the multimeter I'll call him tonight, and that is it. We can see what Druin's doing at the moment. His best is a 2-minute flat, 2-minute.8 actually, indeed. His last lap was a bit off, but you can see the amount of behaviour on the curbs there. It's going to be who can ride those the best and not hurt the tyres too much, because it's a long way to go here on this stint, and how much you push them is going to be the telling factor there.
Yeah, I think so as well, and I think that was the Audi moment that I was kind of waiting for. Ohm just sliding about since his moment as well, which is just the characteristics of the Audi. As oh, was that a mistake in the background again from Ohm? It looked like a little bit of a slide, but he's just losing time constantly. It looks like he's done his tyres, and the Audi is just also doing its thing. And really, I think this is what I was talking about before, the Lexus coming into its own, but Ohm behind the wheel, still looking quite strong. You can't count him out just yet, especially when you have a pit window approaching.
No, that's all right. He'll be fine once he gets the red mist away from his cockpit, from his own error, and just start focusing and forgetting about that incident that he unforced errored himself out of. It's going to be play on. So we'll see what happens with that pit window coming up, and hopefully he doesn't do what Lindsay Muddle says and Audi's himself out of a potential win here. But it's still Lexus 1-2 now. 2 hours and 12 minutes and a bit to go. And this is the story of the night. Ohm led by 1.5 seconds at least over the rest of the field. Had a moment and lost that one, and now he is at least 2 seconds himself, 2.1 seconds, in fact, off the lead. So a 3.5 second mistake from the big man, and that's what the end result is. Castellano is now under pressure, however, and has been from the start of the race from this man, the Frenchman behind him in Druin, really putting the hammer down. He's increased his gap in Druin to the front, because it is now a 6/10 of a second battle rather than an 8/10 like we saw last lap around. So it's not all over yet by the shouting, I can guarantee you that. And these two Lexuses behaving pretty similar, but different setups, I can tell you that, between different drivers. That's always going to come into play. Look at the advantage under brakes that Druin got there, but it is all negated. As the time you come out of the Casino Triangle there, fast in equals slow out, and then once you come into the last curve, it's see you later again. But it's still 0.6 of a second is the gap between these two. We're looking over the rear wing now of Castellana, and he is doing a 1.2 second lap slower in the Delta time than what he started with, which is best at the moment. So probably a little bit of phasing in and out of the tyres now, Lindsay.
Yeah, it does look like it. 2-minute 1.2 fast last lap, and a 2-minute 0.8 current lap. So I think it's a bit of controlling the race as well as also the tyres. But with the fuel coming out of the car, usually the lap times stay fairly consistent. So as well as I think it's just a controlling the race factor more than likely. We know that Druin was quicker by quite a margin in qualifying over Castellana, but Castellana got the jump off the start and then took away with it, but currently leading the race fastest lap, so I don't think he's bothered with the fact that his qualifying wasn't quite up to the scratch of Druin's at all, because now it's showing they're very even in the pace department at the moment, and Ohm still continuing to lose time in the background.
Yeah, definitely that Audi's not happy. It's not happy, maybe just too hot on the rear tyres for that car at the moment. It is a rear engine car, well, mid-engine rear car, but all the weight is there, so you've got to be careful on how you drive it and try not to overcook that rear and be front dependent rather than the rear driving you around, because that will definitely hurt over the stint of this one. But I'll tell you what, Charles, another sensational TV man himself and commentator, is under pressure now, because this man's leading the race. If that is the case when he hops in, boy, oh boy, will we have a story coming our way. If that man stuffs it up, if you get a bit on, better get on the racing drinks there, Charles. Get yourselves revved up. Stop thinking about your day job and thinking about what's happening here on track, because your man is leading it, but he's under pressure now from Druin, who is now edging in closer. 2.5 of a second. You can see that right now. It's only a car length and a half between them, and one unforced error here from Castellana is going to give Druin the biggest sniff of his life. And I'm not talking nightclub style, ladies and gentlemen. I am talking here on the racetrack for a P1 provisionally here with the 2 hours and 9 minutes left.
Yeah, as well as another close battle on the circuit. We'll just take away from the lead for a moment, Lee Perkins and Dawson. And I'll tell you what, Zach O'Reilly, I think the thing I'm most disappointed about is the fact that Lee Perkins isn't repping the most beautiful livery on the known universe when it comes to Slipstream.
Yeah, very disappointed. In fact, I think at the moment, if I was live stewarding, I'd probably give him a 5-second time penalty just for that. But that's all right. He can do whatever he wants. That's okay. We'll get the sensational livery back at some stage. Don't you worry about that, Lindsay. So, but anyway, he's in the top 5 and driving really well. He's got Dawson sort of starting to put the blowtorch on him here now as well. So it's a bit of BMW versus Ferrari battling about to happen here. Hopefully he doesn't do too much of that. That was onto the grass, and that would have hurt him a little bit on the exit. But nonetheless, driving really well. It's still 0.2 of a second out in front, though. Those boyos, they're not letting go of each other, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, they really aren't. So a few battles going on, but this is the main one. This is the main event. This is the one that everybody really cares about when push comes to shove. It's for the race lead, and Ohm's still falling away the Audi, just not working in race trim. So it's going to be Lexus on Lexus action here, as Druin still trying to close in, and Castellana still just being the car controlling this race as they head through Spoon. I think the thing that we're seeing at the moment, Druin not following.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a big mistake there from Castellana. I was about to say, it looks like Druin's not going slow in, fast out. He's going fast in, slow out. And Castellana's taking advantage of that on the exits, where he's going quite slow on the entries, and you can see it in the braking zones, making advantage on the exit. But by the looks of it there, Castellana's made a mistake, and now that gap is only a 1/10.5 as they head through the Casio Triangle, and it's another mistake from Castellana. One mistake compounding by another. It's never what you want to see. It's what takes you down the leaderboard, and Druin is now in more than a position to strike. He's in the slipstream. He's gaining and gaining on Castellana into turn 1, but is it going to be enough? I don't think it is going to be. Druin just seeing an opportunity, though. This is the mistakes. This is where the crack begins to make itself visible from Castellana's cockpit. Druin is going to try to take advantage any time now.
Yeah, it looks like these guys are battling for sheep stations out in front. Looks like Ohm has got some consistent pace, but it's not enough at the moment. He's now 3 seconds off the lead, so a big disadvantage to him in that Audi. Not being happy at Suzuka at the moment. This is the battling that we want to see, though. Two Leviathans. If these two come together, these two Lexuses, they might even give birth to a Toyota. We just never know. Will it be an 86? Will it be a Supra? Who goddamn knows? Will it be a BMW, in fact?
Maybe it's an Lexus LFA.
It could be an LFA, in fact. Yeah, you just never know. Depending on how big a collision there is, how much chemicals have been injected into each other, that will be the deterrent of what comes to us here in the Sensational TV box with these boyos. Two Lexuses having a good old crack. Another little error there under brakes. I don't know what Castellana's doing as he comes out of there. Is it just a rhythm that he just presses the flash button? Because he's done it every single lap, and there's been no one in front of him each time he's done it. So, interesting, unless it's just been ACC with this high ping that we tend to get a little bit of. Might just be doing some buggy action, but still, this is a story coming around the turn now. Here we go. This is where the straight starts to happen here for these boyos. They're not letting go of each other. I can give you the hot tip. It's full slipstream actions. This is what we want to see. Down the back stretch we go. This is now close enough here for Druin to get a move on, but he doesn't do it. He's just going to try and sweat Castellana into an unforced error again. They both go a little bit wide there, but not as wide as Castellana did. Druin go once again into the Casino Triangle we go. What are we going to get out of the last curve? Never know, but you can tell right now that was a great drive out of the corner there for Castellana. He has just taken any disadvantage, that he did have disadvantage he had away from Druin there. No slipstream battling this lap around. 201.9s is what they're doing. 201.8 I'm pretty sure is what Castellana would have done there. This is the strong part for Druin. He really finds his way around the first corner, absolutely straight in, and just gets some time. 3/10 into Snake we go through the S's, and then we come through the second part of this phase into the anti-banked curve, I think is what they used to call it back in the day, because it is not banked. It is on camber. On camber, yeah, it is on camber there as we come through Dunlop. This is where we love to see any car go at full tilt, because it's literally using all grip limitations of the tyre at any maximum point around that full loading at full throttle as we come dipping into the Degna 1 and then Degna 2 as well. When you see them flying through here at a rate of knots, it doesn't matter what car you're in, it's just amazing they get around that curve. There's already lap traffic out in front there too. That would be Beluga, I think it is. It is, in fact, the Whale. Definitely doing his best impression as one, going as slow as it.
Yeah, and it looks like that's a mistake there from Castellana, and Druin was all over the back, but he got the rocket ship exit, and now is the time that Castellana should be using the flashes on the front of that Lexus. I think what it could be, he might have double binded maybe. I could very well be wrong. He might have, say, his TC or his ABS settings set to the same as his flash, so he changes it as he makes his way towards Spoon. That would be my best guess, and that flashes the headlights, but I honestly would not know, as there are the flashes again as they head into 130R. And yeah, as you said, Beluga doing his best impression of a Beluga Whale, and he's forcing the two Lexus to the inside, and Druin's compromised on the entry for that one. He just refused to get out of the way, did Beluga, and I know that a few people were unhappy with him after qualifying as well. He impeded a lot of cars, from what I could hear in the chat from the murmurs after the qualifying session had flown the checkered flag, and now it looks like it's coming into fruition again here. The leader's struggling to get around him, and he just wasn't giving an inch, and that's really hurt Druin, but luckily he had a good run through the rest of the final sector, so he's closed right back up to Castellana. That little moment on the entry of 130R not bothered him one bit.
Definitely not, and it's okay if you're a blue flagger to just pull over to the side, or just even slow down a little bit if you are there and not doing so. But Beluga was doing his best impression of one, and being the size of one, making that Porsche look absolutely ginormous there too, poor old Druin. But it hasn't phased him, as you said, Lindsay. Really going at the back end of Castellana now, just firing it in, apexing it a little bit earlier here, there, and everywhere, which gives him some mid-corner speed does tend to hurt him on the exit at some corners, but others, a la the first corner, really, really helps him. And any 7/10 gap he gets, he puts it back down to 4.3 here. As we see that again, really wide onto the AstroTurf in the Degner 1 and 2. Do these boyos go? They use every single bit of the circuit. The old chopper cam getting distracted by another car going through over 130R. But here we go. Into the hairpin we start once more. This is Daft Punk style one more time. There is the headlight flash. I'll tell you what, disco at the moment here for this boy, and it's starting to get a bit darker out there, Lindsay, also too. So we're going to be racing into the night here, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to start a little bit of a different rhythm, because I'll tell you what, from first-hand experience, at night time, everything seems quicker. Everything speeds up. You feel like you're going like a Formula One car, and you might only be going 60k an hour at night time on a racetrack in a go-kart, I can guarantee you. But now it's starting to come into fruition, and who has got the better rhythm by the time that happens? Now this is a full-blown backstretch succession here. We're going for it. What is Druin going to do? He's showing the nose again, but I'll tell you what, Castellano does not give a rat's. He's just keeping on going and puts it straight on the racing line and says, try it again, mate. You're not getting past me unless you are well and truly upside me. That is a hairy point of the circuit for him. Every single time there, Castellano gets into the Casino Triangle. It's a hit and miss. But finally, he's come out of there, but he's not too far away. He's probably within the risk of a slipstream here. The timing tower says 1/10. It's probably more like 2.5, 3 in fact, and it's not far enough. Up the road is Castellano for Druin to get some suck. Once again, into first corner we go.
Yeah, Suzuka proving to be really tricky when it comes to overtaking, and Druin just struggling to get past, even though I think at the moment he's showing, even though they're roughly on the same pace, I think that he could take the lead and try and stretch a bit of a gap, but it would be very difficult, especially when Slipstream comes into it. They are pulling away from Ohm though, but I think Ohm settled back into rhythm. It's been sitting at about 2.9 seconds for the last few laps, and if Druin wants to make a 130R move, as someone who's done it in the GT3s on this game, you've got to be properly alongside. If you aren't full bumper to bumper alongside, you're just going to end up ending your own race and trying the outside move. It's actually, funnily enough, I feel like it could be the way to go, because it then gives you the inside line for the Casio Triangle, but you've definitely got to be really trusting of the car on your inside, which at the moment these two showing that they probably can be. They're not pushing or shoving each other around. They're just giving each other a lot of respect, not making any sort of dodgy dive bombs that Castellano's teammate would need to look into as the police officer himself, Charles. But they head through now Spoon Curve, and Druin still all over the back of Castellano at the moment, and he's a bit wide there by the looks of it, but he's cut back late apex, and that's a great exit there from Castellano, and that'll give him a bit of breathing room, but not much, as Druin's here, and he's right underneath the rear wing. You can see it there, full slipstream as they head into 130R. Surely not Druin trying to show the nose again, but once again not close enough. But we can see Castellano just doesn't seem to be as quick as through 130R as Druin is, but into the Casio Triangle they go. Still so close together, but Castellano just makes up so much ground on the exit. He takes it out so much wider, opens up the final part of the chicane, and it's really his strong suit, and it's really hurting Druin's chances of trying to get past at a circuit that's so tricky to overtake at.
Yeah, definitely. It's awesome to see different driving lines have different advantages and disadvantages, that's for sure. Perfect example at the Casino Triangle there, called excellently by Lindsay Muddle here in the commentary box tonight, and I'm your co-commentator, Zach O'Reilly, for this one. It's exciting. 1 hour and 59 left to go in this race, and it's been exciting for these two up the front. They've given us something to commentate about and talk about. It's very, very good indeed. I'm loving seeing the two of the same manufacturers going hard and fast. Castellano's got he's basically got the resilience here of a madman, because with that amount of pressure behind him at the moment, that would be giving anyone something to think about twice. And Druin's doing every possible thing he can here to keep him honest, but also unforced error in him into a mistake. And it hasn't really come yet to any dire consequences. Now it's 0.4 of a second. What can they do coming out of the hairpin? Who's going to take the quicker line? We'll see the lights flash once again here from Castellano on exit. And as I say that, he doesn't do it. Fantastic commentator, Curse, back onto me from the racetrack.
Yeah, it's always the way. The second you try and call something, it doesn't work. It's like me trying to use the free camera on the formation lap. It just does not work sometimes as a commentator when you want it to. But Castellano, that's a bit of a wobble there. But once again, he's going to take that cutback line, get a good exit. Druin, though, doesn't lose too much time from that good exit compared to the Casio Triangle. And Druin in the slipstream, still trying to make headway, but he's not as close as he was last lap. So he's going to need to wait, be a bit more patient, take the proper entry line into 130R and try again. But that time around, Castellana gave it a proper send into the entry, but still drew and gaining time. There's a lot of slipstream through into the Casio triangle, which they go through now. And there is the wider exit line there for Castellana again. And Druin, I don't think he's going to be close enough for what feels like the millionth time. We've only had 12 laps and we're only, what, about 27 minutes into this race, and already I feel like Druin will be getting a little bit hot under the collar just watching the back end of a fellow Lexus just not able to get past.
Yeah, it's a psyche sort of thing there, Lindsay. It's just a mental game. Who's going to play chess? Who's going to play checkers as well is the other thing too. But if you've also got a situation like this, it's better to just ignore that the car's there in front of you and just drive your own race. Look past it. Look past the peripheral vision of that. Focus on where you're driving it and let your genuine pace come to you. Because if you start following that other car in front, you'll just make the same mistake as they do, corner after corner. One time you might get it right, but if you start to show your own genuine pace there, it can really, really be nice. As the clouds start to clear once again, the sunshine's come back out here at Suzuka for us. So looks like a bit of a track temperature rise coming back our way. Who is that going to hurt? Who is that not going to hurt in the tyre temperature department and pressure? We'll see, because once those tyres start to get hot from that track temperature as well, they start to get a bit skatey and get a little bit slidey too. That every time you run over a curb as well, it hurts that tyre compound, starts tearing the carcass of the tyre away little bit by little bit. Mine is minuscule little amounts, but it is just enough to hurt you maybe that 1 or 2 tenths in the last stint of a race at any stretch of the imagination. And look at the different lines there. You can see how it's full shallow and narrow there for Druin. And Castellana usually goes for the wide entry early exit, but he doesn't get that job done there. He is now under all sorts. This is full on the biggest chance that Druin has got here, but he's not going to be close enough again. He won't be able to send it into 130R. Castellana is going to send it in once again, harder than Australia Express Post. Gets the job done, covers off at the moment here into the casino corner. Again, he goes, but triangle, sorry. But, geez, look at that difference in car behaviour, just bouncing off the curbs. There goes Castellana again, nailed the exit onto the final corner. And see you later, he goes once again. Every time he gets close to this Kevin Druin, it just simmers away right at this point on the circuit.
Yeah, and I think that Druin's going to need to learn at some point that if he wants to try and make an overtake, he's going to need to try and follow Castellana's line. You're talking about driving your own race, and right now they are taking all different lines pretty much throughout the entire circuit, but I think if there's one that Druin needs to copy or even take even more extreme and take it out wider, it's at the Casio triangle. He just needs to focus on the exit if he wants to make an overtake. That might mean losing the advantage that he gains on the entry of the corner, but all is well in war, and you've just got to play the long game, and you've got to focus on the exits if you want to make an overtake.
Yep, exactly. More points from us super coaches here in the sim racing land. I'll tell you that. Commentators, tick. Super coaches, tick. Driving instructor, Zach O'Reilly, tick. Lindsay Muddle hasn't got there yet. But that's all right. Shelf stacker, though, however, Lindsay Muddle has got the job done there. He's covered. He'll stack shelves quicker than these guys can make time here at... he'll get a whole stack shelf before they circulate a lap here at Suzuka, I've been told. He's that good at his job, is Lindsay Muddle. And these boys showing what a good job is at the moment out on circuit. Druin's just fallen back now. It's the biggest gap we've seen in about 5 or 6 laps here. 6-7 tenths of a second, believe it or not. That's the biggest gap. Who would have thought, ladies and gentlemen out there, that the biggest gap in the race for the last 10 laps has been 7 tenths of a second, and it's only covered by P1 and 2. Geez, you got to be here to witness the racing. Another error there, really, really wide there from Castellana. He's got to be careful of track limits too there as well, Lindsay, because that does come into fruition here with the Seto Corsa Competizione.
Yeah, it really does as they now head through 130R, and I think maybe Castellana will just be... I don't know if he'll be happy or sad to see that Druin's not in the rear view, because it could allow Druin to open up the corner a bit more, because I feel like what's going on with Druin is that he's getting right underneath the rear wing of Castellana and then just trying to do too much, trying to push it too hard. When he has a little bit of space, he seems to close back in, so I don't know if Castellana will see it that way or if he'll just be happy to have a sigh of relief and just give it a moment. But if you do take a sigh of relief, best believe the next time you look in your mirror, you're going to see a big Lexus filling the entire thing.
It's one of those things, isn't it, with sim racing? You think you've got a breather, you think you've got it all covered, then you look about half a lap times, and then they're right back on your clacker again. You're going, oh, geez, not again. But that's That's what mental strength takes, and that's what the focus is, ladies and gentlemen. Ohm has fallen even further back now. With these two battling still, they're gaining pace on him. So taking away any chance of a victory here from Ohm at this stage. We've got a yellow flag out because that is the number 25 out there of life, who has completely lost that at the moment, but he's come back. He's got the defibrillator out. The heartbeat started again, and he's managed to keep himself going there. If he was stationary for any longer there, I think that could have been the old full course yellow there. But for racing anyway, does not matter. Here it is, Castellana, rear wing view, looking at Kevin Drouin at the moment. The Frenchman having a ratchet old time here, just trying to get his way past this Lexus, as chiming in to be one of the battles of this race. 1 hour and 52 minutes left he's got to do, but there will be driver swaps as well for these guys. So they'll have a breather, think about what they can do next time they come out, and maybe just some mental games here from Drouin, just showing the nose that he has got the pace, but when it comes to the kill at the end of the session, he might just start sending it left, right and centre.
Yeah, and I think that it's just going to be about mental resilience, as you've spoken about, Zach. And I think it's just all going to be about holding on, not getting in over your head, not sending it too hard early on, just playing the patient game, and strategy could come into it as well as the potential of a driver swap. I don't know if Drouin has a teammate. I didn't see him have a teammate in the practice session, where I know that Castellana did. So I think another thing that it comes down to is how much pace does Charles have behind the wheel of the car. But here at Sensational TV, I feel like we prove it time and time again. We do have quite quick drivers, considering we're a commentary roster, and we'll see how he holds up.
Yeah, well, you got quick drivers out there. You have quick X drivers in the commentary box as well here at Sensational TV. If you're watching and you haven't already, and you're not a subscriber as well, and you're enjoying what you're listening to, please give us a like and a subscribe, as well as click that notification button. It goes a long way for us. We're on the journey to a 2,000 subscribers is what I was trying to say. Lost my train of thought there. But we are at 1,050 at the moment, which is great news. Come a long way so far, and it goes to show here that the commentary is as good as the racing on track, because at the moment Drouin was 8 tenths and is now only 3 or 4 tenths away from Castellana. Once again, that clean air has helped him climb back up again, but then it's just a stalemate also. So he might have overcooked his tyres a little bit, just forcing the issue behind Castellana. So a little bit of a brain smart move there. And yeah, does Kevin Drouin have a teammate? That's an interesting thing. The pressure point's going to be
track
on
limits drive through.
No way. Disaster there for the electrician tonight. He is gone. The multimeter, the electrician, the Sparky, he's lost voltage there. That is going to be costly there. When will he have to serve that? Within the next couple of laps, Lindsay? I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure as well. I can't exactly remember. It's been a while since I've actually been in the good old ACC scene. I remember back when we did the Bathurst 12, I'd just been league racing it constantly. But nowadays it gets a little bit foggy, because you got the things like iRacing, which I tend to dwell around, and you're with Assetto Corsa instead of Competizione. So should be in the next 3 laps, but who knows, Zach O'Reilly, when it comes to us two in the commentary box. Sometimes we're bang on, and I feel like LMU's the one where we get it wrong the most.
Well, LMU gets it wrong most of the time anyway, just as a game. So we'll keep an eye out for that one. Hopefully that is going to be a lot better for us Australians. It's a good game. Don't take any credit away from that. But at the moment, the one that's stable and the one that runs faultlessly 99% of the time is this right here, Assetto Corsa Competizione with the GD3s. Beautiful. It's going to be excellent stuff here for us tonight. I am excited to be here for most of this stream, and good to be here in the commentary box. And looks like the electrician has taken that drive through, because he is in the pits as we speak and copping it sweet. Unfortunately, he's going to start falling back down the field there. Grantham's got past him. Dawson is just about to get past him as well there, I'm pretty sure. And that will be disaster for him. There's Sam Austin as well. Look at that. This is a move for Sam Bill. Oh, geez, flashed the lights. Had a half a chance there in the first corner. Couldn't get it right. Just managed to pull it up at the last minute there, because that could have been a big contact moment there between himself and Dawson's Creek. But whatever happens between the BMW man and this guy in front is going to come to fruition pretty quickly. It looks like he's got some good pace here, this Sambo. So a good showing here from the big man. Just a flight sim coach by day, and then a sim racer by night. This guy knows how to control a video game for sure. So we'll see what he can do. It's looking pretty close and pretty spicy, but the Ferrari has got the edge over him on that exit at the moment. That was incredible coming out of Dunlop. Just full pace advantage gone. Drove it off, but that's a little bit of a wide angle there for Dawson. TV show is Dawson's Creek, and I believe Lindsay Muddle, you were not born when that thing was going on.
No, you're talking in old person's time, Zach.
Goodness me.
But I think that there's been one mistake compounded by another here for Ohm. He's now got to stop go 30, and that would probably be for speeding in the pit lane, as he's actually creeping up behind these two who are battling, but he's not going to be behind them for too much longer after the pit lane is all said and done, because to stop go 30.
Oh, that's bloody disaster for the big man. He's gone from being the leader to then unforced airing himself. Then back to third place he goes, and then a drive through plus that stop go 30. Holy mackerel, what a story for him tonight. Let's see where he can finish though in the grand scheme of things. He's a quick customer, and he definitely had the advantage over Grantham and everyone behind him. So once he gets that under his belt, he should be okay. But 30 seconds is a long way on a racetrack this big, and especially with an hour and 47 left in this one, it's a hell of a mountain to climb for him. So fingers crossed he gets back onto it. Sam just having a little bit of a moment coming out of the Casio triangle there, but that's all right. Dawson keeps going on in fourth place now, given a free position. Happy days, and Ohm's just coming straight away into the pits there, and he's going to take his stop and go 30-second penalty right now to get that out of the way so he can focus further on for this one.
Yeah, as now we're looking to GC8 and Stevens as they were side by side there momentarily into the Casio triangle. Now the run towards turn one. The BMW should have the advantage, but a couple of battles going on at the moment up and down the grid. We have the one we're watching, we have the one for the lead, and we have the one between Dawson and Sam Austin, but this is the closest one at the moment, as that is Stevens heading into turn one, very close to the BMW, but the Ferrari just does not have the legs in a straight line, which I think we're seeing right now, very much so compared to the BMW. But then as well, Dawson and Austin gains a lot of his time on the Ferrari in a straight line, but then it gains it back through the corners. As someone who's done 12 hours of racing here in Suzuka in the Ferrari for an endurance race, it's not a very easy car to get around here. You'd think it would be, and in Qualitrim it is, but it's a little bit deathly when push comes to shove, and you also get overtaken a lot with a lack of straight line speed.
Yep, that's the difference between cars as well, though. It's what you cop, and with your setup and downforce, that can also change a lot of things here. I think it's about 0.5% or maybe a percentage of downforce between clicks here over the rest of them in terms of drag. But Castellana still leading this race. Kevin Druin in second, and then we've got Grantham, Dawson, Austin, Perkins, Fraser, Tularam, GC8 and Stevens inside the top 10 racing around, and these guys are probably doing the right thing, I would say, in Druin. Just he's filing back, he'll get the pace and he'll come back up, and when Charles comes out, he's going to be under all sorts to show his real card, because if he falls behind Kevin, I'll tell you what, Castellana's got a huge mountain to climb up, and maybe he can take P1 back off, which has been so good at defending so far, pushing this Lexus to the edge of the grip limitations, and I really think it's a credit to him at this stage. There could be 2 pit stops, Lindsay. There could be 3. You just never know in this caper what people are going to do, the different strategies. That's all up to that, and yeah, big time moment here for Kevin. Can he get past Castellana to maybe secure a possible win here over the pace advantage of the 2 guys that is in front of him at the moment?
Zach O'Reilly, I've got terrible news for the man that once again you tipped him to win, and I think it's gone wrong again. He's got another stop go 30 to his name.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
how?
He sped into the pit lane, got a stop. Well, no, he got a drive through, sped into the pit lane, didn't learn his lesson, and came into service stop go 30, got another one.
And another one. Well, you'd think you'd learn once going into it, but no, sometimes it happens again. And that's what the red mist is, ladies and gentlemen. It gets in your cockpit, and sometimes it just can't descend and disappear. And I think that's the case there for the poor old electrician tonight. He's had a mare for sure, and he's down a lap already at this stage. And these boys hardly down a lap at the moment. In fact, setting the pace-setting laps of the race. No one can really catch them, in fact, to be honest. It's a credit to them. They're racing hard, and they're not really defending or attacking each other, but they're just pushing onwards. It's the best way to get further up the grid as well, especially in any form of racing. Rather than just battling and scrapping it out, you might as well just push on, and once a grand opportunity arrives, take it by the horns and just go bang, I'll take it there right away. And we're still setting that high 201 lap times around here. That's about the pace now that they're doing managing pace or managing tyres is the other thing. That's the thing, or fuel too. So a little bit of something to think about. But yeah, it's good to have everyone in the chat. Ron Marshall in there as well. Bloody Lindsay's been in there talking as well. Well, I'm yapping away. Mad Matty's in there. Fix F1 Fix 85. Charles Byrne there, or Burn in there as well. Thank you for joining us so far, and all of our viewers out there at the moment. Good to have you with us. This is the Slipstream International Enduro, 2.4 hours of Suzuka, which means 2 hours and 40 minutes to be exact. 2 hours and 40 minutes, wasn't it, Lindsay Muddle? Holy mackerel, I've lost the plot.
2 hours
24
24
minutes.
minutes. Yeah, there we go. We got there eventually, Zach. It's okay.
Old brain.
Yeah, it's okay. It comes with old age, Zach. You'll get used to it. Um,
How would you know? You're like 16, mate.
Yeah,
What are you
but I got
talking
a dad that's 50.
about? I'm not even 50 yet.
I
I'm
know.
mid-30s.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I know you're not that old, but as I said, it comes with old age. It'll only get worse, Zach. Get used to it.
Just a beautiful glimpse into your own future coming your way there, Lindsay Muddle, that's for sure.
Yeah, mate. Look, it's fine. I don't have to worry about it yet. At the moment, I can just bully you about it. But anyway, back to the racing action. We should probably do our job, Zach.
Probably.
Castellana and Druin still separated by absolute peanuts here, but it's a 201.940 for Castellana and a 201.985 for Druin. They are separated by absolutely nothing, even in lap times. They're that close together. But again, I think the kryptonite here is the fact that Castellana's better off the exit. But I say that he was a little bit deep off the Casio triangle that time. And now Druin does have a good run, but still I'm not sure it's going to be close enough. The gap between them at the moment about 0.4 of a second as they head into turn one. And I think this is just the story of the night. Druin's going to have to be patient and hope that Charles doesn't have the pace that Castellana has, because he cannot pass Castellana for the life of him. And I think we still have about another 20, 30, 35 minutes until the pit stops arrive.
Jeez Louise, that's incredible. Look at those switching back at each other. Holy mackerel. That was close. That was hectic racing there from the two of them coming into the first of the S's, that's for sure. Into Snake they go now. This is beautiful racing. And again, the two Lexuses showing us what to do, showing us how to go racing, hard, fair, clean. And doesn't matter what graffiti you've got on the side of the race car, as long as it's in P1. That's all that matters there for these boyos. An hour and 40 left to go in here, and with the pit stop, as you said, Lindsay Muddle, about 25 minutes away from this one. It's going to be interesting. Do we see what Ohms is doing as the holy mackerel? I'm about to get vertigo.
It's not working
that
again.
Nonsense there. It's not working once again, so we'll just get rid of that. Sorry, every viewer out there. If you've got
I tried.
With vertigo, Lindsay tried. Our camera director, Lindsay Muddle, and commentator tried. Didn't work. Free cam doesn't work when you want it to, but that's okay. Race on between these boys, Castellano and Kevin Druin, having a good old crack at each other. Grantham, good half a minute behind them, circulating around. The next closest battle on track, it really looks like, is Stevens and GC8, the Subaru driver. Only 300 bit tenths between them in P9 and 10. Is exciting to see. They're going around hammer and tongs at the moment. And we'll see what those boyos can do. That's, in fact, what the battle looks like at this stage. So we've got GC8, Stevens, and then Lewin just trying to creep up behind them as well. So the BMW under a bit of pressure here. Stevens in the Ferrari and Lewin in the McLaren. Look at those three. Look at that. That's a sight in the rear vision mirror you don't want to see. Two race cars within a second of you between each other. That's hairy stuff. Pressure point motors here for GC.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tricky to hold on. And I'll tell you what, the logo that you don't want to see in your rear view is also the Red Bull symbol. I feel like that's a little bit synonymous in sim racing at this point. Whenever you see a Red Bull logo, get prepared to dive and dash out of the way. As there it is. There's the dive bomb that comes with a Red Bull logo on the car from Stevens up the inside of turn 11. But he doesn't get the run off the corner. 8 did dive out of the way, but he got a good exit from it, and the BMW lives to fight another day. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why when you see a Red Bull logo in your rearview mirror, get ready to dive out of the way, because that is coming.
Oh, yeah, well, that's in real life and on the sim world too. They know what that bull means, and if you don't send it, I'll tell you what, Helmut Marko will be just pulling your sponsorship off you. He doesn't care. He'll be just be like, nah, do extreme stuff on and off the racetrack, mate, and you'll be happy days. And that's exactly what we can see here from Stevens, sending it when he possibly can. He's a bit far back here coming into 130R. But at the moment, geez, look at that. That's a perfect pace advantage there, but he's just probably going to be a little bit too far away. Hopefully not, but this is the battle. Castellano and Drew and still going at it. This is like a game of chess between two grandmasters at the moment, just playing the long game, the short game, trying to find that final move. Holy mackerel. But I'll tell you what, they're really, really showing us how to go racing. Pit Viper, Oreo in front, GC8 there still in ninth place, and I reckon Stevens behind him is going to try half ascend somewhere into turn one. And look at that thing just creep up under brakes. It is hairy stuff. If I reckon if GC just double apex that one there, he would probably be another half a car length up in front there for not GC8. I meant Stevens did that. In fact, he would probably be finding a bit more of a gap there. Now that's close. That's real close there. Look at that on your screen there, ladies and gentlemen. The camera can't keep up. That's how fast they're going. But again, a little bit of dirty and a bit of aero wash there, right up the rear clacker. Lexus to Lexus. Never works into 130R, and then looks like Castellano will just get that perfect exit as he has every single lap around here. Onto the last curve he goes, down the front straight, and this is the battle for the lead once again.
Yeah, as I keep cutting back to them because I go back to that other battle and then I look at my, I look at the timing tower and I'm like, oh my god, the gap is a tenth between them, and then they're going into 130R and I'm like, oh, it's going to be rinse and repeat. But we'll see. Probably check in on it every lap when I see the gap is at 1/10, but back to this train, GC8 still leading it, and Stevens still trying to get ever closer to that gap. Currently sitting at about 6/10 as they head into Spoon Curve, but this is where the Ferrari should make back its time when they head into Spoon. So let's see how they both negotiated. It looks very neat and tidy there from GC8, but a little bit of entry send there just gains time for the Ferrari, and Stevens still gets the exit off the corner to boot. Both of them having 6 cylinders, one of them being an inline, one of them being just a plain V6, and right now they're drag racing in a straight line towards 130R, and I think we could see a side-by-side moment here. Oh, that's to the inside there for Stevens. He thought about it, lost a lot of time for showing the nose on the inside. He was hoping he could force a mistake, but instead he's made his own mistake, dug his own grave, and now Lewin's closer. But still, the Ferrari getting close. I thought Stevens was going to try show the nose there. That would have been an absolute disaster.
Oh, yeah, that could have been the biggest accident I've probably seen in a long time, especially after that one we did see in real life not too long ago in the GT3 racing. That was scary stuff. That Nissan Skyline got collected and then slapped itself into the outside of the 130R there, and that was a horrible accident. But luckily, no one really got hurt in that one. In terms of that, he walked away. In fact, I think he got taken to hospital, but he walked away effectively from that one. But I'll tell you what, GC8 now really under pressure. I wish he was in a Subaru. That would just be absolutely perfect here, Lindsay Muddle, because that GC8 is a model of Subaru. If you know your cars like you don't, at any rate in the stretch of the imagination, you would know that that would be a Subaru, and one of the best models out there for sure. Hence why the name, but he's right up there. Really, really close now in terms of getting overtaken here by Stevens again. Really, really showing that nose. That Red Bull blue livery with that Red Bull on the front, obviously, is getting ever so closer once again. But just at Degna 2, there was a big pace advantage there for GC8, and he took it by the horns into the hairpin. We go going on to 200R around this corner. Why do they call it 200R, Lindsay? I know exactly why, but that's a bit of trivia for you. What do you reckon they call it 200R?
I actually do not know, Zach O'Reilly. For me, when I looked at the track map, it just said it was turn 10. Or turn 11. So if I'm completely honest, I don't know that bit of trivia, Zach.
Well, it's the radius of the corner is what it is. That's why 130R is a tighter bend and 200 is a longer bend. That's exactly what it is, and that's why they're named that way. But now this is a hot chance again here for Stevens. Monkey see, monkey do, a bit of Groundhog Day. Gone to the inside, switch back, full defence mode now. Is there a cent and a half? No, there is not. Thank goodness gracious. Once again, he thought about it. That was great defending there from GC8 on Stevens. Stevens tried everything he possibly could, but that BMW just had too much horsepower in the end. Doesn't matter how much of a pace advantage he gets at the exit there of Spoon Curve. He's just galloping away as that BMW, and he'll gallop away again down the front straightaway. Out of the last curve we go, and down once more for another lap here. And what are they doing pace-wise? They're doing 2:04 and a half there by the looks of it, compared to our leaders doing 2:01.9. So that is the pace difference, but good 2.5 seconds pace overall per lap between first to ninth there. But still, great little battle. Cracking stuff here. This is very much like the two Lexuses up in front there, going hammer and tongs, slicing each other's racing line when they possibly can, but then also making ground where it counts.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely right when it comes to the theme of this race and just how Suzuka races in GT cars as well. In F1, you drop outside a second straight away because dirty air. In GTs, you can stay close, but you just have no chance to really overtake. So I think it's just going to be a game of patience here for these boyos, so they can see, oh, that's wide there from Stevens as well, to see if they can overtake. And right now, it's just not coming to fruition for anybody at the moment. I don't think I've seen a single on-track overtake since Castellana and Druin on lap 1. Funnily enough, so it's just a little bit of a waiting game, a patience game as all. That's very deep there from the BMW, but look at that, he checked up, took a later apex and then gunned out of the corner, and that's exactly the sort of quick thinking you need. If you make a mistake, you don't compound it, you try and make up for it, and that is exactly what GC8 has done as they head into Spoon. And let's see, will Stevens try another aggressive move if he gets a good exit off of this one into 130R?
Well, it's exciting. What can they do here? We'll see what he's got. Has he got the momentum? Has he got the pace? He has there. He's just, you can see that car ever getting so close to the BMW. But then by the time it comes to this point here, the slipstream comes into effect, but it's not going to be enough. It's just too far away. He's a good 2 car lengths, in fact, away. Looks closer there, but it really is 2 car lengths. Into 130R they go. On the brakes there. Oh, that's an error there from GC8. Stevens had to check up there. And that was probably a little bit of defensive driving, I would say. They're deliberately on the apex, just parking it ever so lightly there. Don't do that too many times, because I'll tell you what, race stewards at the FIA will be onto you and penalise you like Fernando Alonso did. Disgusting, if you ask me. But anyway, that's how the racing goes. It's still on. Lewin's hanging around in the background like a bad smell at the moment. Can't get up to these guys as much as they battle here. And look at that. We've had a pit stop there too, Lindsay Muddle. That would be Kevin Druin in the pits into 4th place, and Castellana still flicking it around there. But it's a pit stop done for Kevin Druin.
Yep, so actually a little bit earlier than I was expecting, a 2-hour, 24-minute race, so it's not even been an hour. I know that the fuel tanks on those Lexuses, unless there's something I'm unaware of when it comes to the settings, I know they can go about an hour and 5 hour and 6 minutes, so maybe just a different fuel strategy. And actually it very well could be, because if you do the full length of the tank, you're not going to make the end of the race and you're going to have a splash and dash at the end. Maybe that's what Druin is trying to avoid. He wants to splash and dash a little bit earlier to undercut. Who knows? I never know what's going on in these drivers' minds, and that's the beauty of it. So here we go. Oh, look at Stevens. He's so close behind GC8. This is the closest he's been. Surely we're going to see a turn 11 dive, and we do. But once again, he just doesn't have that deft touch on the brake pedal. He gets there, but he just doesn't get alongside. He goes for it and then kind of just half backs out of it and then loses on the exit. So I think that what Stevens needs to make up in his mind is, am I going for it, or am I sitting behind and focusing on the exit? Because I think at the moment he's a little bit half and half, and you can't be half and half when you're going for an overtake. That's how accidents happen.
Yeah, you got to be fully committed. There's no doubt about it. Just full commitment to the brake pedal there. And if you send it, you send it. If it ends up in a collision, you look like a right donkey. But if it doesn't, you look like a hero. That's the split decision that you have to make, ladies and gentlemen. You have to make him and commit to him. And he's not going to be doing it this time around. He's way too far back there. Is Mr. Stevens himself. So we'll see that. But he's got a beautiful run in 130. In fact, wasn't really a checkup there. But GC8, is he going for it now? No, he's not. Into Casio triangle he goes once again, but can't get a job done. Out he comes, unscathed as GC8. Stevens showing the nose and just really, really pushing for any bit of track space he possibly can. He's just got to commit and just go bang, bang, and get that job done. Else it's going to be a long night for him.
Yeah, I think 100% you are right. And I'll tell you what, Zach, you caught me mid-sip of the old hydration bottle there. But yeah, GC8 and Stevens still continuing to battle, but I think you are absolutely right. He's just got to go for it. Otherwise, he's going to be stuck behind for the next hour and a half unless he gets a good undercut. So I think that it's just going to be a game of patience or a game of absolutely going for it. So do you want to be Daniel Ricciardo, or do you want to be Lance Stroll sitting behind everybody? That is the question you want to be asking yourself. But then again, you have a Red Bull logo on the front of your car, so surely the answer's obvious. But Stevens still just looking behind, and I think Lewin's just placing himself perfectly. I don't know if he has the exact pace of these 2 cars in front of him, but he's there or thereabouts, and he's close enough to wait for disaster. And if Stevens does make a half-hearted move, then he'll be right there to pick up the pieces. So I think that's exactly his thought process at the moment, which is really handy there, as once again the BMW just getting a good exit. As we'll look to Tularam as well, he's very close. There's another little battle here going on between Lee Perkins, Chris Fraser, and Sularim. So another three-way fight going on the track as well as not Sam Austin. Grantham is very close to Ohm, but Ohm is a lap down, so Ohm just trying to pick up whatever pieces are left in this little fight. But here we go once again towards 130. Oh, that's a cracking exit from Stevens. Here we go. This is the moment he's been waiting for. This is where he really needs to go, and it looks like he doesn't have the legs in a straight line, but he's going to commit to it anyway on the inside. Surely not. And he does return to a little bit of a compromised racing line, but now he has a good run into the Casio Triangle. Surely he goes for it. He shows the nose on the inside, but he doesn't commit to it. Once again, he's just struggling to find that level of commitment he needs for an overtake, but he slingshots once again off the final corner. Now the run towards turn 1. I don't think he's going to be close enough, but you've always got to give it a go. You've always got to give it a sniff here. See if he can get close enough into turn 1. Ferrari on BMW. I don't think he's going to go for it. He's just not close enough, but he's trying his hardest here, but it's just close, but no crumpet here for Stevens.
Oh, geez, it's close battling. It's bloody incredible. Look how close he is now. Oh, geez. Whoa, that was nearly a seat of the pants moment there. Nearly got out. Maybe some dry cleaning needed to be done there for GC8 because he saw that Ferrari come at 1,000,000 miles an hour, but didn't happen, thank goodness. But close racing, beautiful stuff here by these two and keeping it honest and keeping it clean. But now you can just see a little bit of a gap there starting to decrease there because GC8's under a bit of pressure now. Here comes Steve-O. Is he going to try it around the outside into Degner 1? Surely not. This is incredible. He is too. He's just gone bang, but he's overcooked it on the entry and he's lost that position again. GC8's going to get past him. There goes Steve-O. I thought Lewin was going to get that job done. Now there's a bit of overlap too, believe it or not, but he's gone full defensive mode now. Has GC8 into the hairpin once again, and he's covering off now is Stevens to the man behind him, Lewin. So, geez, that was close. That was a great send, but just had no grip on the outside there. Full commitment, full bravery. The one time we wanted him to do it, he nearly pulled it off. Now he's just got to go back to the drawing board and think about what he possibly can do. Holy mackerel, indeed. Wowee, good stuff. Great racing, and you can see now, I think at the moment, that BMW is starting to struggle on those tyres, and at the moment, I reckon Steve-O's got a bit of pace underneath him.
Yeah, and I reckon that was a very high IQ racing moment there for GC8. I think he knew trying the outside at the Degners was never going to work, so he just let him go, let him overcook it, got the position back and said thank you very much, and I'll just defend again, so have fun getting frustrated. But here we go. That's a fantastic run. He's gone off to the grass instead. He decided, no, I'm not going to make a move on the track. I'm just going to go right around the outside on the grass, on the AstroTurf, and I'm just going to make the overtake off the track. So interesting tactics there from Stevens, but I guess whatever gets the job done at the end of the day. But that was definitely an off-track overtake.
It definitely was. Full send. I'll tell you that. Full sending, but he got the job done. What would the stewards have to say about that one? Leaving the track and gaining an advantage could be something to think about, but still, a good one. Nonetheless, he's got the job done. Now can he skip away from GC8 in Steve-O? We'll see what he can do in that. It looks like he's managing to do so now. He's been clean of it. This is a good battle here at the moment. Lee Perkins is what are we looking at here, Lindsay Battle? We're looking at Lee Perkins, and then we've got Fraser behind him. And Tolaram having a good old tussle, the three of them now too. Onto the dirt they go. There was Fraser there, got it pulled up there into Degner too. Luckily he did. There's two BMWs and an angry McLaren looking at the back end of a BMW. Not what you want to do, especially when you know that it's P6 and 5 up in front of you. P5's a good night out if you can finish there. And it looks like a great entry there and exit there for Tolaram, but he can't get that job done. Has he got the legs into 200R? We'll see. At the moment, doesn't look like it. He's just going to follow that single file down there like a sheep. And what can he do? Can he make it into the final spoon curve section and make up some time there and get that gallop on in that McLaren? No, he's too far away. Looks like a good line there from Chris Fraser. Just a bit of an entry, a late entry, and then a late exit as well. Sort of opens up that corner, but makes it a progressive one. So he hasn't lost any time, but he hasn't gained any either. Good driving there from him. These three guys having a good old tussle for sure. Really, really liking it. But it's just petered out to something there of a little bit of a breather for all three drivers here. An hour and 23 minutes and 57 seconds left to go in the race.
Yeah, we
and
are.
It's still the big.
My fault. You go.
No, you go ahead, young whippersnapper, please.
Yep, sorry about that, Zach. It happens when you have a long race. At some point, it's got to happen.
Of course.
But yeah, we're exactly an hour in, and Yeah, there's a couple of pit stops now just looming here, and a couple of things catching my eye. And I think one of those is that even though there has been a few pit stops, there's not been many. And Sam Austin, it wouldn't be P3 once Druin's back past, but there's not that many cars that have pitted around. And Sam Austin somehow in P3, so I think he's going to be quite delighted with that one. I think after the pit stops, probably be about P6 or P7. But yeah, I haven't seen that many people come into the pits, so definitely something's going on there, and he's made some overtakes.
Yeah, incredible, incredible if that's the case, because I know Druin pitted, but I don't think anyone else in front of him has done so. So unless he's just done it on merit there, Samuel, well done. P3 at the moment, P4 aggregate, realistically, by the time they come into the pits, but we haven't seen anyone come in. Castellana's gone 30 laps on these tyres and not come in, and we saw Druin do so a bit earlier. So interesting to see what's happening between those guys. Keep an eye out on that stream wise as well, and spectator wise too. But look at this. Fraser now is on the back here of Lee Perkins, having a good tussle. He's got 3/10 in front of him. That's the view on board. You can see the sun just starting to get ever so lower in the horizon there for these boyos. Starting to set here. And look at that. That's 2 errors. That's monkey see, monkey do style there, realistically, from the BMW in front and the one behind. Where is Tolaram behind them? He's nowhere, but this is a great run here. Now it's BMW versus BMW. No horsepower arguments here at the moment. It's just genuine pace. As we can see here, Fraser, can he get the job done here on Lee Perkins? Down the back straight we go. It's going to be very brave. Won't do it into 130R. Going to have to pull out of that one. But as now it's an overcooked exit there for Lee Perkins at this stage. No, it's not. He's gone semi-defensive there, stayed middle of the track, and no chance there for Chris Fraser to get the job done onto it into the Casio triangle we go. Once again, beautiful out of exit for the both of these guys. It seems like the BMWs actually have one of the better driving exit traction zones realistically out of these cars, out of that one, because they just start to skip away as well. So really cool stuff. 2 BMWs having a good crack at it. Lindsay all over 5th and 6th place. Hot property for that for a Saturday night P5. Good outing.
Yeah, 100%, and the battle's not done yet. There's a lot of racing left to be had, and at the moment, Fraser putting on a good show here. Lee Perkins holding up with the pressure, but I think, yeah, the BMW definitely known for its stability. The McLaren known for its dodgy brakes, and Tularam will be dealing with that, and he's not running to the back of anybody just yet, so he knows how to drive that McLaren. That's for one thing for ERG. And Pit Viper Omicron here for Fraser. I can't help but think that I might be missing a livery or two here on this grid for the livery not to be showing up properly. Being a Pit Viper car, they're normally all kitted out in whatever livery they feel like, and it looks like a pretty plain BMW, so I would hazard a guess, Zach O'Reilly, and say that I've not downloaded everything properly.
Well, if he's got the sensational TV, we might as well just give him a P3 straight away, I reckon. That's probably a good promotion for him. But he's got half a run here. Actually, it looked like he had a really good exit out of the hairpin, but couldn't get a job done there. Into 200 we go. Seeing what these gentlemen can do. Racing-wise is interesting because you can just see one little move, one error will give Tolaram a full-on chance at a P5 with these two starting to come together over the race distance. We will find out very shortly. That's a good run there, but he got crossed up on exit, did Chris Fraser there. He had the pace there and just lost it at that last bit. That's going to hurt him all the way down the back stretch. We go. He's in the slipstream. He's pulled out to the side. He's not far enough here for another one, but will that give Perkins a bit of an invitation to go wide? No, it doesn't, but it looks like now Tolaram's had a good look at Fraser because Fraser went wide there at 130R. Oh, geez, deep under brakes. Shows the nose twice. That was probably a wiggle under braking there, but the ping could not pick it up there for Tolaram, but he pulled it up nicely, and that was a mare of an exit there for Perkins. That's given half a chance there to Fraser, but he's frustratingly just swerving the car, swerving the tyres anywhere which way he possibly can. He's just got to get back in the rhythm here and think about the big picture because P6 is nothing to be disappointed about here with the P5 opportunity in front. Just got to drive it cleanly here in the non-livery BMW. Another check up there from Lee Perkins. Jeez, he's on the full mid to late corner check-up raid at the moment. Full raging in that BMW cockpit, driving the wheels off it, and he's drawing another car into it. So if he loses a battle, he's not going to lose one place. He's going to lose 2 places positionally. So big picture sort of look here for Lee Perkins. I would just say, look at it from that point of view, mate. Just race forward, eyes forward, and let whatever else comes behind you. If it comes fairly and squarely, let it go. It's an hour and 18 left.
Yeah, they're in a bit of no man's land, this 3-car battle, because then back to Stevens, you have quite a while of a gap. 2 behind is once again the Helicam getting distracted. Yeah, it's about 9 seconds, so as long as they don't crash, they should be free to battle, but the one thing he doesn't want to do is bring Toulourim into it. So that is the main thing. That Mercedes that's catching up behind them is Johnston. He's a lap down. So he's not of worry to these 3 cars. But as well, another thing to note, they might also be getting close to their pit window, which is why we might not be seeing such big aggressive overtakes, as well as the tyre pressures will be getting quite low and the tyres will be getting quite cold. This race started about 31 degrees track temperature, now it's 24, so they're definitely going to need to pump up the tyres for the next pit stop, but that should already be said and done, but it's then going to be about getting it right, because it's a bit of a gamble when you pump up the pressures. You need to pump it up a bit, but you never know exactly how to get it in the proper window, unless you're probably a little bit better than us guys, as the people who sort of have engineers. But that's a bit of a mare there on the exit for Lee Perkins, but then, he just gets a better run off the exit and Fraser loses out again. But towards turn 1, Slipstream going to come into it here, and he's closing, but once again no crumpet and no overtake for Fraser. It's the same as the battle for the lead that we've been having, so yeah, not ideal at the moment, as Castellanos still out 32 laps and about an hour and 5 or 6 minutes, so it'll be definitely approaching pit window time for everybody on the grid who hasn't already pitted. Lewin comes into the pits as well. A big moment there between the two of them. Perkins slow again, really checking up. This is the most he's slowed up for the most of it, and here comes Fraser. He's trying to take advantage, surely not on the inside of the final part of the S's, no, but now he's going to have the run through Dunlop Curve, and as well as Toulourim getting involved. Perkins really checking up here, and it's just not playing into his hand. Yes, Fraser can't get past, but they're just bleeding time. You can see that gap to Mark Stevens is just closing ever so much. I'm not sure what's going on. I think maybe the tyres are dropping off, and so he's just backing off, maybe saving fuel, maybe he's close on fuel. There's so many factors that could lead to this slowing down, but you can't deliberately slow down too much, otherwise Fraser's just going to run into the back of him.
Yeah, he is too. But full brake checkups are a good defensive tactic, but only when safe to do so. And if you're taking the P155, then you start to get a bit of a bad reputation between them. So just a bit of a playing of the game here for Lee Perkins on the edgy side, I would say, of the risk versus reward sector. But headlights are starting to come into fruition now. The sun is setting here. It's going to start to get dark in the next half hour or so here at Suzuka. And that is a great run here now by Perkins. He has really got a full BMW run there, because nothing Fraser could do there in the slipstream at the moment. Through 130R again, and they're going hammer and tong through Casio Triangle. We go in there. It's actually Hitachi on the outside of that. So bugger Casio off. It's Hitachi now on the sponsorship board. Another beautiful run on the exit there from Lee Perkins, really negating any chance that that Fraser has down this front straightaway of a slipstream overtaking manoeuvre. But really, really good stuff are these two boyos. As you said, Lindsay, a big gap between them and the next man in front. There's an error. That's it. There goes Lee Perkins, his 5th place. So he's going to fight it tooth and nail, though. I'll tell you what, Fraser's going to have to fight this one around the outside. He goes onto the grass, in fact, comes back on, manages to keep it out without contact. Now Toulourim's got half a sniff here too. This is incredible. Don't forget that these boyos know how to race hard, but geez, they've got to keep themselves steady and quick at the same time. But there is a P5 done for Chris Fraser. He is into it. I hope his name's Chris. Into that one. And Lee Perkins had to give up that P5. Beautiful stuff. Brave under brakes. And I reckon there at the moment, that is what one man in that McLaren of the Red Bull has to start thinking about there too, Lindsay Muddle, a bit further down the track.
Yeah, and you were right. It was Chris, so you can take a sigh of relief there, Zach. It's not as bad as me calling Chris Munro Matt Munro. We still don't. I still can't forget that. I did it 3 times in one race, if you remember back to Long Beach. But anyway, still, Lee Perkins, he got overtaken, and now he's pushing again. So I don't know, maybe it's one of those things. He got too complacent, then he has a car in front of him, and now he's pushing again. But Fraser looks to be controlling the pace quite well. I say that, then he goes out very wide, but he'll get a slingshot of an exit for a bonus of that. And there we go, he's gone off the exit. And that is a good gap to get. That is about 8 tenths, so that should be that battle just about done. But now, Lee Perkins, realistically, he has to look behind him here. because Tularum is closing in as well as the car that's a lap down. You still don't want him meddling with your race too much if he's faster. But then as well, Castellana still driving out the front. He's in a land of his own because nobody really is near him because we have Druin who pitted. He has the fast lap of this race. I think the undercut could be successful here, actually, for Kevin Druin when all is said and done. But I wonder how much fuel saving this man has had to do at this point because he is still out. It's been an hour and 10 minutes. Surely he's within 2 laps of his pit window.
Well, you'd think so. You'd think so. Charles is just sitting here, sitting here going, well, what am I good for? Absolutely nothing at the moment because my name's on the car, but I haven't put myself in it yet. It's looking like that way at the moment. And around again he goes. No pit window at the moment for him. They've got a yellow flag on the circuit. That would be Lewis, and he is well and truly off. He is not moving at this stage. What happened to him? Lindsay hasn't gone far enough back, I don't think,
No,
or
I've
has
gone
he?
far enough back.
This one he has, actually. We'll see what happens
I think
to
I went
him.
too far back, actually.
Maybe way too far, but we'll watch on board. So it's brewing here. There's something going on. Looks like a Ferrari right behind him here, getting the full overlap run. No brake checking there, just a little bit of a misdemeanor contact. No, perfect. Through the first S's. See, we go into Snake. Now we're coming up through the Dunlop curve, and this is gonna end up somewhere at Degner 2. So we've got about 20 seconds left of this one. By the time something happens here, it could be contact. In fact, it looks ominous. Ferrari driver going to be caught in 2K on Sensational. Here it is. Here's the move. They're up the inside of each other. Oh, a bit of overlap maneuvering as well. And that is it. He's gone sailing down the inside. He's tapped him, missed the Ferrari, and full into the grass. Onto the gravel he goes and bang into the wall. Gonskis. That is huge damage. And that is the possibly the end of this man's race.
I'd say so, but I've got to say the absence of the brake pedal is interesting. I feel like if I find myself out on the gravel, I'm trying not to go straight on with the wall. Maybe you're trying to collect the Ferrari. I don't know.
Probably a bit dirty.
I don't know about you, Zach O'Reilly, but I would have tried to hit the brakes and not hit that outside wall.
Well, yeah, it keeps your race pretty much, still in fruition, to be quite truthful. But that's a choice you make. And that's a battle there as well. Lee Perkins right under pressure here at the moment. I'll tell you what, that was Taylor.
Oh no!
Oh no, he's been collected by a lap marker there. Oh, disaster! That was huge there, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness gracious me! Onto the replay we go. What happened here between Tullerum and this man? I'll tell you what. Oh, geez, it's coming to something here. Has he gone wide at 130R? He has a bit there. He got checked up. He's come back onto the racetrack. Tullerum's gone to the outside, elected to go for the move. He's made a mare of it. There comes a Mercedes-Benz trying to get that job done. Then he's just come out of this corner way too hot, and then bang, turned in and punted him full-on Mike Tyson-style knockout. And Tullerum's made his way back to the pits in all that stretch of imagination. Did he go back on the circuit and go the wrong way, get himself back into the pits? I hope so, because that's an incredibly quick place to get back into the pit lane from that final corner.
Yeah, he just got absolutely KO'd by Johnston. That's really unfortunate there for Tullerum in the ERD car. He was running really well. He's looking to make a move on Lee Perkins, and then bang, Mercedes just absolutely door-whacked him. Get out of town. Get out of here. I don't care that I'm a lap down. So the stewards would probably take a look at that one. But, yeah, interesting tactics there in the cockpit of the Mercedes, I dare say.
Oh, yeah, bit of biffo probably afterwards.
Castellana's in.
Castellana's in the pits. There we go. He's lasted 36 laps in that one. Is this going to be a driver change? And we see one Charles Bertoni hop into the car. Yes, it is. He is in and he is away. So, quickest lap time from this man was a 2 minute and 8 tenths, and that was set by Castellana. So now Charles has got to think about how much pace he's got in relativity to the rest of them, because Kevin Druin has well and truly undercut them by a country mile there, Lindsay Muddle. That is a huge gap now. If you look on your track map, you're going to be looking for car 614, and he is now onto the Dunlop curves, only into the first set of the S's. Here now is Charles in that car. So that is a huge gap. That's a good kilometre nearly in front at this stage, and the undercut pitting early well and truly worked. But will that negate itself at the end of this race? That's yet for us to find out, and for everyone else here watching to put their bets on.
And you know what I'm thinking here, Zach? So I think that because Druin came in really early, he definitely has another pit stop in this race. However, it was about an hour and 14 minutes that I'm having a moment. What is this?
Castellano
Castellana.
had.
There we go. That Castellana had. He went an hour and 14 minutes into the race, just over. That means, theoretically, he did a lot of fuel saving. Charles could do the same. He could make the end of this race. And Druin could be left with his pants down here.
Yeah, he could actually, too, because that's a long, long way to go, as you said. So, yeah, good call there. Can't agree any more on that one. This could be race changing at the moment. To get darker here at Suzuka, the lights are now on the track, and the sky is still got a bit of colour in it. Not complete and total darkness yet, and the temperature will be starting to drop as well. You can see it's now 20 degrees outside, only 21 on the track, so it's getting real cold out there. What's that going to do for the grand scheme of things? Who knows? Also, we've got a alert in the chat there from Ron Marshall, also saying that Grantham is going to be doing a one-stopper too. He's 37 laps and in the lead, so that's interesting as well. A one-stop advantage probably going to be a good one here. Lee Perkins running wide there again. Stevens in that ominous Red Bull Ferrari still behind. Oh, geez, he just never gives up. These guys are going to have to come into the pit soon. I'm telling you, this will be the time that they do, because it's now or never for the grand scheme of things in the race. It's over halfway, and look at Stevens just trying every single possible thing he can. Going onto the grass, thinking about it, going in. It's going to be a pit stop battle for these two.
Yeah, Sam Austin also now into the pits. These two have got to come in this lap. Surely they can't go anymore. Very deep there from Lee Perkins. And that definitely hinders you when you're trying to make the pit entry. And in fact, he's not trying to make the pit entry, but the Ferrari is. There we go, Stevens into the lane. And anybody who pits from this point on should be making the end of this race, unless they really just don't know how to fuel save.
Well, you'd hope so. You'd hope so. But that's when you have either your co-driver in, and he is all over the fuel saving, or he isn't, and or the vice versa. The guy who did it before you did not fuel save enough, just trundled around till the tyres were dead and didn't have enough fuel to get you to the end. Well, you have to do some severe fuel saving yourself. So two ways to look at it. It's a team game, especially when you have a teammate, unless you're Druin, because he's going out by himself the whole way around. So another thing to think about. Grantham's still going around. In fact, he's still out there in the lead, going for that one stopper, clear as day. Speaking of which, it's not getting any lighter out there. The darkness is encroaching, and this is a lap traffic car of Johnston, who took out poor old Tullerum there. We caught him live in 4K doing so as a blue flagger. Not how to make friends on the circuit, that is for sure. Taking out another competitor who is in front of you. Just let it go. Race your own race. Move on. And he's going to do it again nearly. Oh, my goodness. That was so close there, Miles. Goodness gracious me, mate. Let's just cool it down. Stop flashing the lights. There's no race in front of you, mate. You are the blue flagger. You've got every right to get past cleanly if you can. But the guy in front who's quicker than you and on the lead lap has no obligation to get out of your way.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. I mean, don't get me wrong. Johnston's been quick. Considering he's a lap down, I would love to know how he ended up there. Probably something lap 1 related that we didn't spot, but he is quicker than all these cars around him. But he's all over the show. He took Tullerum out. He's on the grass. He's weaving down the straights. He just needs to get a grip. You might have the pace, but if you're going to be doing stuff like this, I would say the stewards need to have a harsh word.
Harsh words from the commentator, Lindsay Muddle, there as well. Probably too right there as well. And he monkey sees, monkey does himself out of this one too as well, because that would be disaster there at the moment if he comes to grips with the car in front of him. Oh, holy mackerel. But hopefully he doesn't. He's weaving down the straight, as you said there, Lindsay. Now he's getting out of the way of the cars behind. So he is doing what blue flaggers should do. And that out in front there, I think that is one man who just came out of the pits. Is that... Who was that? Is that who I thought it was coming out of the pits there? No, it wasn't. I thought I saw a car come out of the pits, and I thought that was one man who used to be in the lead, but I can't see who it was. Schoolboy errors here in Sensational TV.
Yeah, but anyway, instead of having a Mercedes trying to end his race, now Perkins has a Ferrari up his inside, and this is for position. Dawson trying to show the nose here through the Dunlop curve and towards the Degners. Surely not. They're going to go side by side. Dawson on the outside, Perkins on the inside. Surely one of them has to blink and they don't. But the move done the long way round to the first Degner from Dawson. That was cracking stuff on Lee Perkins. That was an incredible overtake. I mean, we've got an hour left, but if I had to name it now, that's overtake of the race.
Yeah, that's a belter. That is an absolute rip snorter. That was beautiful stuff as we saw it on screen. Nearly even replay worthy there, Lindsay Muddle, I would say. But we'll get onto that if that comes to fruition. That was cracking stuff there. We'll see how he gets it done. That is right around the outside of Degner 1. Just slaps it in there. Doesn't care about the AstroTurf on the outside. Just commits and goes bang. Beautiful stuff. Cracking racing. That is how you do it. Clean as a whistle and brave. Finally, we've got some good overtakes happening our way. Good call in the chat, though, from Mace. Looks like Tulleran was on the break coming out of the Casio triangle. Yeah, he probably got crossed up there a little bit, but you still have a duty of care as a guy being the blue flagger to look at an incident and then try to avoid the repercussions of that. But this is your leader of the race, Kevin Druitt. He's right there, and that's him driving around there in that Lexus, and the BMW behind him looking a bit dancy there on the exit there as well. But he's leading this one by a little bit. The timing tower not showing us exactly how many seconds he is away. And I'm trying to look where he is on the track map 614. Where is he? He's there. And then we've got Charles Byrne in the 100. So still a good kilometre away or thereabouts. This is Lee Perkins into the pits now for Match Fit Motorsport. See what this guy can do. Has he got a co-driver, Lindsay Muddle? I'm not sure.
Neither am I, so we're going to take a look, but I haven't seen a co-driver in his car all night, so I don't think so. But we'll stay with him because there's not too many close gaps on the track at the moment. The race just going through the pit stop lull period that is always the case, as it does not look like it. The name probably would have changed over already, but we'll keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, currently in third, still yet to pit, which is absolutely phenomenal. Jaden Lee for one of, I believe, 4 ERD cars out on the track. You have Jaden, who just had a driver swap with someone. I'm having a blank as to his name. Great commentator, am I? And then you have Mark Fuchs in the Bentley, the only Bentley on the grid. And then you have Tulleran, who's an ERD car. There's one more out there somewhere. Is it Phil Turner? No, I can't remember who the fourth one is, but there is 4 cars representing ERD, and all of them not doing too bad, none of them just excelling at the moment, which seems to be the theme of it as Lee Perkins comes out of the pit lane. Yeah, he's a one-man army here for this one, so yeah, it looks like at the moment we're just going through a little bit of that lull period that you always get in a race like this. As it drops nightfall, cars spread out after the pit stops, and it'll come back to it in the final 20 minutes.
Yeah, Will, and that's what you get in enduro racing. You got to see where the single file racing lines come out and see what the positions are at the end of any pit strategy that we see. It's good to have all of you with us here tonight, watching from home, enjoying a Saturday night in, and tuning into Sensational TV as well. Dawson here in 4th place, driving really well himself, actually. Pretty quick there too. Best is a 2:01.6. In fact, so that's not far off what the front runners were doing there in the grand scheme of things. So he's got it sorted here in the Ferrari at the moment, but we'll see where he comes out in this one. Sam Austin in 5th place has not driver swapped either, and he is sitting there collectively in that. And there is that Ferris wheel just giving me some epilepsy in the background there. I wouldn't want to be driving with that. That's distracting. Does that thing go red and yellow when the flags are out? That would be actually cool, because that could be one of the biggest digital displays of a flag I've ever seen there, Lindsay Buttle.
I'm actually not sure. I don't think it does. I'm fairly certain it flashes between a bunch of random colours, and I think during the F1 weekends it goes blue and purple, if I'm not mistaken. So who knows? Maybe drivers see it and go, "Oh no, I'm blue flag," but no, you're not, mate. But that's something Lance Stroll would think.
Well, he's been noticed all around the world as Lance Stroll for certain and many things on the track, but one thing I would say is his mental lucidity is sometimes questioned as well. But we'll see if we have a collision of a Constantina effect, as Lance Stroll put it there in his own grand scheme of things at some point during this race. As you can see, they're all spread out a fair bit. The timing tower tells us now that it's a 23.7 second gap between P1 and 2. And that could be changing by the end of this 20 minutes, because Druin came in very, very early. Won't have the fuel to get to the end, we are predicting, with that one. and for a one stopper at any rate. So he might have to come back in again for a splash and dash. Can he maintain that pace and maintain that gap and extend that gap even further over Charles in second place? Let's see what lap times he's doing there, Lindsay. Actually, I want to see what the big man is capable of, because his teammate was doing sub 2 minutes. As you can see, that is, and the last one there by Charles was a 2:03.1. So about a second and a bit there difference between himself and his teammate, but still driving really well. Now it's 23.9 seconds. So unless the timing tower is giving me some sort of misinformation there, which I probably wouldn't count it out to do so, it looks like that gap did decrease by 4 seconds in a lap, but I hardly think that's the case looking at the track map at this stage of where the cars are relative to where they are on the timing tower there, Lindsay.
Yeah, so I'm just going to stay with Charles here because I want to see what his lap time is next lap, because it's a lot cooler of a track than his teammate had as well. So the lap time potentially just not adding up. I know that in the practice session as well, he's about a second and a half, 2 seconds off his teammate's pace as well. But if he is able to cut out a pit stop, which I believe he is going to compared to Druin, it still could be coming up pick shot for Charles, because he could still be in a position to take this race home if he plays his cards right compared to Druin. Because if Druin makes it to the end, I don't even think it's possible. He pitted with like an hour and 40, an hour and 50 to go, only about 20 or 30 minutes into the race. So 100% he has another stop, but then can he close that gap, considering Charles is in the 203s and he's doing 20 or 202s? It'd be close.
Yeah, it will be close. It will be. It should be interesting to see the final stanza of this race, which unfortunately I won't be around for that one, Lindsay Muddle. I'll have to depart in the next 5 minutes or so, unfortunately. So the 51-minute mark, I'm gone skis, but these boyos are definitely not going to be gone. They've still got 56 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in the race. And it is looking very much like we will have one on our plates for P1 and 2 by the end of that one as well. Sunkerall's going around at the moment. He's had a driver swap there too. So he's now in the hot seat, doing 2:03.1s at the moment. Good pace for him. Everyone's sort of tipping around that mid 2:03 mark at this stage, with that track temperature dropping, as you said there, Lindsay, and night falling upon us. It does take it away from you. As I said earlier in the stream, it looks like at night time you're going at 200 mile an hour when you're usually going about 110. So it's interesting to see where the rhythm comes and where and how much practice you've actually done at night time, considering that Suzuka is pretty well lit up. You've just got to get that muscle memory in pretty damn quickly if you're a co-driver and you've just hopped in at the scene of the accident there where Phil Turner has just had. We'll see what happened to him. It's coming into 130R down the back straightaway we go, and he's just coming in now. We'll see as he comes through. He's popped it in. He's gone way too hot into that corner. Full oversteer moment. Nearly tank slapping himself. He does hit the wall, unfortunately, too. There's some damage. Look at that bonnet and bumper looking very, very secondhand. About as many hits as Guy Sebastian. Not Elvis Presley and Freddie Mercury style yet, but that is going to hurt him overall. He's actually coming to the pits now to fix that damage, we would assume, put some fuel into it, put a fresh set of boots on, and then go to the end.
And I'll tell you what, I've done that too many times than I care to admit. At 130R and ACC, I remember doing about a billion years worth of qualifying laps for a 12-hour Enduro, and I did that about 8 times on fast push laps, and then in the 12-hour as well, I took too much inside curb and threw it straight on at about 250 and gave us 20 minutes of damage because I have no skill. So yeah, it's quite easy to do, but the Beam are definitely not a car that I expect to do something like that, actually. It's a very stable car. I was in the Ferrari, also fairly stable, but it doesn't like curbs.
Yeah, well, look, no car really likes curbs, to be quite truthful, but there are others that are more susceptible to it. So I'll give you some credit there, Lindsay Muddle. You're not as bad as you say you are, for sure, especially if you are going to be my teammate in an upcoming Bathurst 6 hour. You better be on point, my old son, because if you've been it live on stream,
I'm getting kicked
you
out
could
of
be
Sensation or getting kicked
you
out
could
of
be in
HA.
for everything.
Okay.
There could be everything. I might even fly up to your residence, or might even get a teammate.
To do it.
Oh, exactly what I was going to say. I might get a teammate of AK Racing. They go and knock on the door. But no, I'm only joking. That's not a threat at all.
He says
it's going to be interesting.
Broadcast.
It doesn't matter. It's not a threat. It's only an alleged one. So take it as you will. But I declare it's not a threat. It's just a joke. We are comedians here at Sensational TV at the best of times. When the racing is serious, we can be as serious as it is now, and it's looking pretty spicy at the moment. You can see the headlights well and truly in effect around Suzuka Circuit. All the street lights are there that you need, probably at the wrong points of the track. You need it at the apex, and they're not there. They're at the exit of a corner at that stage. But nonetheless, Sunkerall at the moment driving in P3, doing a really, really good job at the moment. He's got Dawson behind him, 1.5 seconds away from a threat to his position, and it could be starting to decrease a little bit there, Lindsay Muddle. I think it was a little bit more the last lap around, and that rhythm is starting to come well and truly into effect now. You've been there in the seat for about 12 or 13 laps, I would say, and by this stage, and you can have no excuses other than your own skill, which apparently Lindsay Muddle has none of.
Yeah, well, into 130R, we'll see. Yeah, he has more skill than me. Confirmed he was able to get through a fast left-hander. Would you believe it? But then again, I've also pulled some of the best overtakes of my life off at that corner. I went around the outside of someone in a Mercedes GT3, which is a tugboat around here. And then made a double overtake into the Casio Triangle as well for good measure. So it depends on your point of view. Do you want to judge someone by their worst or their best moment?
Well, that's the beauty of streaming, isn't it? We can catch you at your best, we can catch you at your worst, but nonetheless, I'm going to have to catch you later there, Lindsay Muddle. It's been a pleasure to be with you in the commentary box. All the best for the call, by the way, for the rest of the race coming your way. Superb effort. Thank you for putting it on here, and all the best to all the Slipstream drivers out there. Good luck to Kevin. Good luck to Charles. It looks like that's the battle that we're going to see at the end of one. But for me, it's good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Have a good one, Zach.
Thank you, mate. See you soon.
Yeah. So anyway, back on with the racing action as Zach disappears, and that is quite unfortunate for me. But what we're going to do is, because I need to grab a fresh bottle of water, we're going to have a quick lap cool down. So I'm going to leave you on board with Craig Dawson as he tries to chase down Jaden. And I will be back in about a lap's time. And until then, enjoy the sights and sounds of a Ferrari 296 GT3 in the night at Suzuka. I am back, ladies and gentlemen, and still Craig trying to close in on Jaden, but I think he actually lost time throughout that last lap. So we have 48 minutes to go, and still the looming pit stop of Kevin Druin unless he's able to save quite a lot of fuel, but Charles also losing quite a lot of time per lap. A 2:01.5 last time round for Druin and a 2:02.8. If that gap gets too far, he's going to gain a pit stop, is Druin, so definitely he's going to need to keep an eye out. Otherwise, Charles is not still going to be in the running for this win. So a few factors to consider at this point, and not a lot of close gaps around the track. So at the moment, we are just in a little bit of a lull in proceedings before we get back to high octane racing action, but I think it's going to be about 28 minutes, if not a little bit more, before really that comes to fruition, because realistically, when push comes to shove in an endurance race, it always has a lull and then it has a return, and it's just the nature of the situation. This is the closest battle on track between Jaden Lee and Dawson. That gap about 2.5 seconds at the moment, and that gap's been staying pretty steady, as well as for Una. And oh no, Una just has another car about 1.9 behind him, but nobody actually fighting for position. In fact, I think that's the BMW we've been looking at. It is Jaden Lee. Dawson also just about cleared the lap McLaren. I believe that is Lewin, who's just had a bit of an unfortunate affair tonight. So yeah, it happens sometimes. As Fraser in a little bit of no man's land at the moment. He had a close battle earlier on with Stevens and Perkins, and then now it's just settled in. And yeah, now it is just keep the head down and don't crash the car, which is the story for most of these drivers heading around the circuit at the moment. They've just got a little bit of work to do, as still it just continues on as we go off the rear wing of Jaden Lee, as he still continues to take his way around this circuit. Lap BMW behind him, a car 2.5 seconds behind us. Chase cam. That wasn't me. I turned on the autopilot to see what it whipped up, and it decided, yeah, no. But yeah. So Jaden just pushing around the circuit, and yeah, just like Dawson just not quite having enough by the looks of it. As Dawson just trying to close in, and yeah, it's just not working for him at the moment. As Charles still just running quite far off Druin's lap time, but actually last time around it was only 0.3 of a second. As there is Ohm, and yeah, look, you had a bit of an unfortunate one. You got pole, and then you got drive through, and then 2 stop goes back to back, and that was the end of your night. It happens. Motorsport's cruel, to put it lightly. And but yeah, it's good to see you hanging around here watching the broadcast. Sadly, quite a bit of a lull at the moment, making it a bit tricky to call, especially when I got a little bit complacent with having Mr. O'Reilly alongside me. But I'm sure it'll pick up again soon enough, as it always seems to do. So Mark Stevens is the car we're looking at the moment. Is actually, here is a close battle. I was saying it was going to heat up. Now it has heated up. So we're going to stop the automatic camera, and we're going to keep an eye out now, because Fraser, who was in no man's land, I was just saying it, and now he has Stevens right up behind him. We know Stevens is not afraid to go for it at the best of times, but we also know that he's a little bit half-hearted from some of the battles we've been watching. So he just needs to absolutely commit to this if he wants to clear Fraser and get into the top 6. A P7 or a P6 is not a bad result after you get through 2 hours and 24 minutes, but at the moment, there's still a lot of that time to go. 43.5 minutes remaining, and it is already 10:40 p.m. at night. Like I'm going to be falling asleep in the commentary box by the end of this one. Just joking, but definitely a possibility after after not much sleep. But overall, this race still pushing on, and here we go. Here's an on-track battle. As yeah, it's the first enduro. Yeah, mate, it's always going to happen. The first enduro is always tough because it either goes well or it goes hard. But normally it doesn't go very well because you've got to settle into it, and it'll come to you. You'll get that addiction to endurance racing, and I don't think you're gonna stop, mate. That is normally the way it goes. It's tricky, it's tricky. Then one goes well, and then you know it's possible, and then from there it's tough because I mean, at least me personally, I do a lot of endurance racing on iRacing, and you know, you have one go well, and then you have 8 go bad, and then you have one go well, and you're just always chasing that feeling of the result you're looking for, and it just doesn't always go that way, but that is the life of motorsport, even in sprint races, but enduros just take that much more out of you. So much more prep, and so much more mental capacity needed, but that's what's so good about it. But anyway, this battle continuing on at the moment. Fraser has Stevens right underneath the rear wing at the moment as they make their way into turn 11, and still Stevens doing the typical showing of the nose at the hairpin. But it's just not working out for him, as the inline 6 of the BMW versus the V6 of the Ferrari, both just roaring and setting this track alight. Everybody will be able to hear it around the circuit. Same with those bloody Lexuses, which are loud. They sound absolutely fantastic. As we still continue on into this race, and Stevens just sitting right there. All it takes is one mistake from Fraser, and he'll be right there in the bunch, right there in the thick of it at the moment, as they still can't get close enough for a move. As there it is, Druin in the pit lane as predicted. 41 minutes to go, and actually it's a little bit earlier than I was expecting him in. Thought I was expecting him in about another 10 minutes, but it actually makes sense considering when he came in. But is Charles now close enough, and can he hold on for 41 minutes with the pace deficit? And Druin on fresh tyres, low fuel, it's going to be a sight to behold, and I think that Charles is also still going to have to fuel save. So, Druin at the very end of the pit lane. Charles heading down the straight. Oh, he's going to clear him comfortably here, but by how much then is the question, because he's going to have to hold on for quite a long time. So he's going to need quite a big gap. So Charles already blown by. He's into turn number 2 and heading towards the S's. When does Druin get going again? How big is that gap? And also, will Jaden come into this one? He's heading into the Casio Triangle. So it could actually be close here. Druin could have some other competition to work with. No, he's off the jacks and he's away. So he will come out ahead of Jaden, but that is a big gap to be asking to close. That is the end of the S's for Charles, and that is the beginning of turn 1 for Druin. That is the gap. Degners to turn 2 is the gap you're looking at the moment. How about that? So that is about a 30-second gap between the two of them. We'll get the official reading when they head through the sector split. But yeah, that is really, really difficult. That is going to be quite something to overcome. I was expecting actually a lot less of a gap, considering that gap was about 30-something seconds. So here we go through the sector timing line. 33 seconds over 39 minutes. That's basically a second a minute. That's over a second a lap he has to close. Now, he has been quicker than Charles, but it's been about 1.5 seconds quicker than 3/10 quicker. He's going to need to gain about 1.5 seconds almost every single lap, let alone getting the overtake done when they're in equal machinery, which we've already seen is such a pain, and Druin's already been struggling with it. But with a driver difference, that could be a bit different, but that is such a big delta to close. So now it's going to be a 39-minute sprint to the end. This is going to be cracking stuff. And it's going to be about Delta watching on the timing tower, I'll tell you what, because that is such a big gap. That is going to be almost insurmountable here, and the poor pit stop strategy from Druin definitely going to be a hindrance. As there's a yellow flag, it's the 377 car, it's Tularum. Oh, he's off in the ditch at 130R. The P2 car flies past him. Let's get a replay as he heads into 130. I think he might have done the same thing that the BMW did earlier on. So on the entry, just commits in. A little bit wide, and whoop, the rear end goes. He smashes into the wall. The front end gets crumpled, and it's a disaster for him. Yeah, that's not ideal for Varun Tularum in the ERD Motorsport car 377. But now he's into the pit lane and he'll continue on. But yeah, really unfortunate there for Tularum. But yeah, it is just what happens, especially at a track like Suzuka. Yeah, all the gaps really large at this point. Fraser is the only person with a car close to him. And that's Lee Perkins, and that gap is about 1.1 as it stands as well. So we'll stay with the two BMW cars as they try to close into each other. As well as Fraser doesn't have that far up the road to Stevens, but Stevens also got past him at some point. So that gap is likely to continue to bridge out, whereas Perkins is closing the Fraser by the looks of it here with 37 minutes to go. So equal machinery. Well, as the 737's gone, that's Ben Mead in the other ERD car. So ERD having a disaster class of mass proportions. First the 733. And now the 737 Bentley has just lost it, it looks like. Oh yeah, too much engine braking, too much curb, and Bentley bit back, which is actually quite uncommon. When it comes to the Bentleys, they are quite stable, and yeah, Ben Mead off the road. There he is, racing around once again, actually, with the leader in front of him. Or the leader behind him, actually. He'll have to get out of the way in just a moment to not cause any problems. There's the blue flag flying. Oh no! Oh my god. That was nearly race changing there in the grand scheme of things. Charles nearly flew into the back of Ben, who I think he meant good. I think he meant to just brake and get out of the way, but he was on the racing line of the entry of the corner. So he probably needed to pull to the inside if he wanted to do that. But anyway, it all works out in the end as well. I think we lost him in the grand scheme of things as well. Yeah, the Bentley's gone off the leaderboard. So anyway, back to it. That gap 28.8 seconds. It's a 2-minute 0.9 flat for Druin and a 2:03.3 for Charles. So that gap is closing exponentially, and if that pace deficit stays the same, we are going to have a change for the lead again in this race. But Kevin has to keep consistent here, and Charles, he has to get a boot down here, foot to the floor, because otherwise his race will fall apart here and he'll lose the victory. But he should still be able to hold on to P2 even if he can't hold on to the win. But yeah, not ideal in the grand scheme of things. what we're going to do now is we're going to go on board with Drew, and he is by far the quickest man out on track. So we're going to go full on board lap here, on board with the screaming V8 Lexus. So through the Dunlop curve is when I'll return next lap with V8. Sorry, I was a bit late back. Just dealing with some stuff. But anyway, Ruin 2:00.6 last lap, matching his fastest lap of the race and the fastest lap of the race. So he's giving it everything. And that gap for Charles is closed once again. 23.8 seconds. So there's a lot to play for here, and by the looks of it, at this rate, Charles isn't going to hold on. And it's not going to be by a big margin either. He's gaining well more than a second a minute, which is crazy to think about. He should close up any time now. Probably in about... If he's gaining, that was 3 seconds a lap. Let's say at an average of 2 seconds a lap. He should gain... Let's use your brain here, Lindsay. Bit quiet? Am I a bit quiet? Is my mic volume change? Hold on. There we go. Okay, yeah, mic was turned down. So it should be, what, 30 minutes to go. He's gaining about 2 seconds a lap. So it's about 15 laps to go in this race. 2 seconds a lap. Less than 30. He should have enough with, what, 5 or 10 laps remaining. He should catch up. So probably in about 20 minutes, he should be closed up to Charles at the rate he's currently closing. So definitely something to think about at this point in time. As Lee Perkins as well, that's another battle going on. Fraser has some competition behind him. It's BMW on BMW. These two were battling earlier on in the race, and now they've come back to collision because it is the blue BMW sitting and hawking in the mirrors of Fraser. And it's a triple BMW moment as well, because P7 and P8 are both BMWs, and P9's a BMW. He's just not in the stretch of imagination when it comes to this battle. The leaders are closing up to them, though, so they're going to have to be vigilant. They do start battling. They can't compromise the leader. They have to be sensible, and that is the main thing here. They have to hold out for another half an hour without hurting one of the leaders, and as well as not hurting each other. So they have equal machinery. Slipstream's going to be important. Driving is going to be extra important when you're in the same car as a 2:03.0 last time around from Charles, and Kevin Druin sets the new fastest lap of the race. 2:05, and he's not even crossed the line yet on this one, and I'll tell you what, he's on for the exact same lap time. So Charles trying to push himself to go quicker, and Druin is just going quicker and quicker and quicker as things go on. So he's going to be very tested here to hold on. I'm not sure how much longer that is going to last here for Charles Byrne. Yeah, it is going to be a tricky one, and I think that his teammate in his ear, who put in all the work earlier on, he's going to be screaming. He's going to be going, "Go, Charles, go faster," because this is the battle for the win in what is quite a long and competitive race. Winning a race 2.4 hours definitely means a lot, as that's very wide there from Fraser, and there goes Lee Perkins getting the move done. That was a big mistake. Not sure what happened, just a bit deep under the brakes by the looks of it, and Perkins said thank you very much, and I think he's going to run away with it, and now they have Charles Byrne behind. He's going to get out of the way with the blue flags. The Lexus is going to fly on through, and then next up for him to lap as well will be the other BMW of Lee Perkins. But Fraser, that's this battle basically done. Perkins is going to run away into the distance, and now there are no real close battles on track at the moment, but at the rate we're going, we're going to have one for the win any moment now. 18 seconds is now the gap between Druin and Charles Byrne. This is going to be such a good race here at the end. This is going to be for all the marbles for the win. I said he's got about 15, 20 minutes behind him. I'm not even sure if he has that with the rate that Druin is closing. And Charles, he went quicker a few times to his fast lap of the race, and then now he's going slower again. So he's giving it too much, I think. And Druin, he can push 100% to the end. He'll have the tyres, he'll have the fuel, he has everything now spurring behind him. All he's got to do is close and deal with some traffic, and at the moment, that gap used to be the start of the pit lane to the start of the Degners, and that gap has closed a lot. It's now 17.2 seconds, turn one to the middle of the S section. So Charles needs to pick up the pace if he wants to bring home this win. 26 minutes to go. By the rate we're going, Kevin will catch by the time there's 17 minutes to go, which is just absolutely insane to think about. He is absolutely flying compared to Charles. He set the new fast lap of this race again last lap, 2:04. He's encroaching on qualifying lap times. The rate he's going, his qualifying lap was a 1:59.8. I'm not saying he's going to get into the 59s, but he's going to get, I think, even closer to the bottom of the two flats. So I think that he is absolutely flying around this circuit at the moment, giving it absolutely everything. He's at the top of his game by the looks of it. .2 seconds now the gap as he heads into Spoon Curve, and this is now just going to be a game of watching the Delta. At the moment, because that is what we're looking for. And I'll tell you what, let's play a game. What is the leader listening to? I can see he's listening to music. Probably not helping his case, if I'm honest. Apparently, he's 3 seconds a lap slower than Kevin Drew, and he's listening to "Sliding Beat" by the Ridge Racer Series and Bandai, and I can't say the last bit. So, if you want an insight into what the leader is listening to and what someone listens to at the top of their game leading an endurance race, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is what Charles Byrne is listening to. At this very moment in time. So maybe he's trying to get the blood pumping. I don't know. I don't know what that song is. So if you do know, then you'll know whatever mindset he's trying to be in. But I definitely don't. But now let's take a look. So we've seen what Kevin's driving like. Let's take a look at what Charles is driving like. I imagine it'll be a bit more calm and composed, and he'll probably need to be doing a bit of fuel saving by the looks of it. So heading through the hair, he just looks a bit like all over the place. Like he just hit the inside curb at turn 11 and just things like that. He's not carrying enough speed into the corners compared to Kevin. I think that is the main difference, that gap. Now 15 seconds last lap. It was a 2.4-second gain for Kevin Drew, and so it'll continue to stretch out and it'll continue to be a close battle here, I think, in the grand scheme of things. And Charles will be feeling the pressure. It's going to be like the Jaws. He should be listening to Jaws at the moment, that theme song, because that is what he may as well be hearing. That's what his teammates should be telling him. You got Jaws coming up behind you, because Kevin Druin is a man on a mission. He lost the position to this car on lap 1, and he wasn't able to get past through a whole stint of following Charles's teammate. Charles got into the car, and after a poor strategy decision, Druin found himself dropped behind 32 seconds. Now that gap is 13 with 20 minutes to go. He's gaining about 2 seconds a lap. And yeah, this is absolutely game on. Anybody's guess as to who can win, but I'm going to hedge my bets. I'm going to put my money on Drew, and I think he has this. I think he can take the race victory off of Charles. I think that is going to be the story of this race. And I think it is going to be an absolutely sensational close-down job for the race victory. Druin, 1.8 seconds faster than Charles on that lap. He is picking up the pace a bit, is Charles. 2:27. That's his fastest lap of the race so far. His teammate's fast lap of the race, 2:08. The fast lap of this race, a 2:04. Only 3 cars in the 2-minute flat range. Ohm, who's out of this race. Kevin Druin, who's still out on track. Charles' teammate, who was out earlier on in this race. So this is going to be a really close end. It's a Pro-Am team, I would have, well, not literally, it is Pro Class, it's a 1-class race, but if it were to be classed, it would be Pro-Am. Charles' teammate being really quick on the pace, fighting for the lead. Charles, the AM driver, struggling to keep up with the likes of Druin, and falling back into the clutches, you would have to say, at the moment. He's definitely going to be feeling the pressure in this one. This is going to be really close and really tricky as we head into this. I said that Druin should catch up by the time there's about 15 minutes to go. I think that the pace delta has dropped a bit. It's now only about 1.82 seconds lap compared to about 3. So I think he'll close up with about 10 minutes to go at this rate, but that's still not good news here for Charles as he runs deep at the Casio triangle as well. 11.7 seconds the gap heading through the 3rd sector. That was 2 seconds gained since the start of the lap, let alone towards the end. What does Druin gain this lap? So Charles does a 2:03.0. Druin looking like he is going to do a 2:08. So 2.2 seconds now. So it's fluctuating a bit. Still closing 10.9 seconds across the line is the gap between Druin and Brian. This is really close here between Brian and Druin. Charles will be feeling the pressure, and soon enough he'll be seeing the lights of the fellow Lexus in his rearview mirror. He's really got to focus. He's really got to be determined here if he wants to hold on. He's going to need to find an extra gear. But right now, he doesn't seem to have that. He doesn't seem to have that killer mentality that the car behind him, the Frenchman Kevin Druin, has, who's just closing in like a man on fire. He's closing in like a fellow French Kevin Estra. Druin is driving like an absolute champion at the moment to close the gap this quickly. This is fantastic stuff between the two of them at the moment with 20 minutes to go. This is a 2-hour and 24-minute race. It's come down to the final 20 minutes. This is where I said it gets good, and I wasn't wrong. 10 seconds now the gap between Charles and Kevin Druin. So, put your bets in the chat, everyone. Who do you think is going to win? Charles. Will he hold on? 10 seconds. He's been losing about 2 seconds a lap and there's 18 to go. The odds aren't in his favour. Or are you taking Druin to knock out the victory? And it would be by a comfortable margin by the looks of it as well. Who do you have? I think I personally have Kevin Druin. Let me know in the chat here at Sensational TV. We'll now go back to watching Kevin. 9.3 seconds the gap entering the third sector. It's just closing and closing. And right now, Charles not looking like he's going to do a quick lap time either. It looks like he's probably on for a 3 mid. And it looks like Kevin at the moment is on for a 1-0. So 3-3 for Charles and a 1-1 for Kevin Druin, or 1-2 for Kevin Druin. That gap, 2.1 seconds closed, 8.8 seconds across the line, everybody. It's only getting more interesting. Kevin has to clear this lapped car. It is the 555 car? No, the 55 car of Fraser that he has to clear, and then he should have Perkins as well somewhere around here. As well, just further up the road. But yeah, you shouldn't lose too much from that if the blue flags are sensible. Let's go on board now here with Kevin Druin as he closes in here in the night, in the darkest of nights here in Japan, in Suzuka. Gonna have to focus up here. This is crunch time. He's got to be pumping his best laps of the night if he wants this to work. 8.1 seconds. He wasn't on the optimal strategy, but I think he might have known that Charles didn't have the pace that his teammate had. That might have been a factor heading into this race. He didn't get pole position, Ohm got pole position. However, Druin has showed faster, superior race pace. My opinion, even though he couldn't get past Charles's teammate earlier on, he showed better pace. He was all over the back of him. As, oh, here we go. Blue flag problems into 130. Oh, what is Fraser doing? Oh, that's nearly a big crash. That's a big lap time delta loss. 7.3 seconds still the gap. He gets out of the way super late as well into the Casio triangle. That was a disaster class of mass proportions there for Druin. He lost 1 second from that, as there's now dirt being stuck up on the track as well. So 7 point something was the gap into, he lost time in the final sector to Charles. That is exactly what Charles will be hoping for. 16 minutes on the dot to go, 7.7 seconds. The odds aren't in his favour. However, the blue flags do seem to be Charles desperately clutching at straws to try and hold on to this one. Kevin driving the race of his life. And still, it might not come to fruition if these blue flags aren't sensible. Fraser, a little bit all over the place there. Now, Druin is now closing up to Lee Perkins. I think he still should have this one in the palm of his hand. 15 minutes to go. 7 seconds the gap. All he needs. 2 seconds. Oh, actually, I say it now, it sounds a bit stupid. 2 seconds a minute. But with the rate he's been closing, I think it's enough, but it's going to be so close. We'll go back off board now with Kevin Druin. We're going to go to Charles. What we're going to do is next lap when he crosses the line, we're going to watch a whole cockpit lap. And I'm going to leave to your devices to watch on. 15 minutes to go. We'll get a little bit of a status check as to how Charles is driving. Because we've been watching on board with Kevin. We know how he's driving. Now it's time to take a look at Charles once again. The comparison between the two. The onboard lap. So useful just to watch and analyse when you're in a situation like this. 6.5 seconds the gap. So here we go on board with Charles. Enjoy the lap. See the lap times fall. And that is an onboard lap completed there with Charles Drouin closing in 5.3 seconds, 12 minutes to go. This is going to be so close. The gap that he's closing a lap isn't quite looming as large as it was before. A 2:02.7 from Charles, a 2:01.0. 1.7 seconds a lap now. So the gap between the two of them lap time-wise is getting closer. And catching is one thing and passing is another. We know that Drouin has the pace. I think he's had the pace all race compared to everybody else. He holds the fastest lap. He's pushing every single lap, but he can catch. We know he struggled to pass in the first stint. It's a different driver. There's a bigger driver gap, as we know, between Charles and Drouin, but even then he's going to have to dig deep because he's not going to catch with long to go, so it's going to take a bit of commitment here, but that gap currently sitting at about 4 seconds, I'll give you the insight, with the extra delta that I get. As through the first sector split, 4.4. Oh, this is getting so close now, and Charles needs to keep looking ahead. If he looks in his mirrors, he's going to be met with disaster. He needs to keep looking forward. He needs to keep pushing. He needs to give it every bit that he has. As we're actually going to go into the cockpit again, I want to see if I can spot something. He has 20, if that's accurate, which I don't think it is actually accurate. He has 20 litres of fuel. Let's see, can we get any insight here? No, it doesn't show his fuel reading. I'm trying to figure out how much fuel he has. If that's accurate though, I think that's 20 litres of fuel to go, but considering it hasn't dropped 0.1 even since then, I don't think it is. I don't know how much fuel he has. I don't know if he can push to the end. I know it was close, 1 hour and 6 minutes to go. He should have just had to fuel save a tiny bit, not much. So he should be free to push, but that gap, 10 minutes to go, 3.6 seconds. Kevin has pretty much arrived now. He only needs a little bit more closing. There is about 5 laps to go in this race. With 10 minutes to go, 2-minute lap times. It's about 4 or 5 laps to go, depending. I think it should be 5 on the dot, pretty much. And Charles, at the rate he's going, isn't going to hold on, but he's just going to defend for his life, I think, because even if Kevin goes for it, once you're locked into battle, the pace deficit doesn't become as drastic if you defend well. But you've got to be able to brake late, which he's not braking as late as Drouin at the moment. And you can just see the time gain visible. 2:02.9 last lap for Charles, 2:01.6. So the lap times are also dropping off for Drouin, but I know he can push to the end, 100%. He has all the fuel, all the tyre he needs. 2.6 seconds. Now the gap. It's closing. It's getting ominous. Charles will now be forced to look in his rearview mirror as we head into the dying stages. This is going to be a critical point of this race. Does Charles have an extra gear? I don't think so, but I know that Kevin does. He's not pushing as hard as he possibly can. He's superseded 32 seconds almost at this point. He's close 30 seconds to Charles in about 32 minutes since his pit stop. And now, all that lies between him and victory is 8 minutes 45 seconds, 2.6 seconds in between himself and the leader, and an overtake. It sounds easy, but it's easier said than done here. And now, he just needs to keep pushing. 2.1 seconds is the gap heading into 130R through the sector split. 2 seconds now as they head towards lap 66 of this race. This has been a grueling one. 2 hours, 24 minutes, and Charles has made a mistake. That's something you definitely can't be doing. But he's feeling the pressure. He can see the car in the mirrors behind. He might have even mentally checked out. He might go, oh, I can't win this race. But 1.6 seconds is the gap. I'll give you the hot tip here in the commentary box as he crosses the line. It is absolutely on. Charles versus Kevin Drouin. The gap was 32 seconds. 34 minutes ago. And it's all going to come down to this, ladies and gentlemen. Can Charles defend for 7.5 minutes? That is the question to ask. Or is Kevin going to go for it? He couldn't get past Charles's teammate earlier on. This is a different kettle of fish. It's nighttime. It's cooler. There's more grip to use. He has better tyres. He has better pace. This should be simple for him. But even then, even with all those factors behind him, Charles is going to be committed. He's going to have a lot to fight for. His teammate put in so much hard work. He's not going to want that undone. A P2 is still a good result, but it's going to be bittersweet if it falls apart with 7 minutes to go. 1.3 seconds the gap heading into the hairpin. 1.1 seconds heading through the hairpin. The lap time difference is now discernible. You can see it in live time with the gaps, with everything going on. This is going to be now a race of just pure mental strength and pure defense and pure attacking. Who has the better of what qualities? Because you're going to need it. This is going to be all eyes on here. Sensational TV bringing it to you. Lindsay Muddle in the commentary box here as well. Slipstream putting on the show, making this happen. And now it's Charles and Kevin to decide how this race is going to end. Oh, it's wide. Charles has made a mistake at 130R. Here's Kevin. You can't be doing that. You can't be running wide like that. Charles has just lost himself about 3 or 4 tenths of a second there to Kevin Druin behind him. And now with 6 minutes to go, 3 laps remaining on the dot here for Charles. Kevin is there. He's in Slipstream range here in Slipstream International. It's a 2.4-hour enduro, and it comes down to the final 5 minutes. Charles doesn't have the pace, but he does have the opportunity to defend. Kevin, with all the pace, all the grip, all the confidence in the world, he's closed 31 seconds, and now he has to make an overtake. Here we go, his first overtaking opportunity realistically is going to be into the hairpin, and he's not going to have to push the sit-up behind Charles here. All he has to do is bide his time and go for a proper move. As long as they don't come together, he should win this race. But even still, it's 4 past midnight in game time. It's 11:17 p.m. here in the commentary box in Australia, and this is going to come down to it. 3 tenths the gap, and Kevin's right there. They have the run into turn 10 and turn 11. Will he go for it? Is he going to be close enough? Is he going to go late on the brakes? He is showing the nose. But he does now go back to the right and focus on the exit. Now he's going to have the run into Spoon. He probably won't go for it into Spoon, but he's now going to have the opportunity to try to attack into 130R. He's just got to pick his point properly, and he should be home free here, Kevin Druin, as he has the pace. Into Spoon, he shows the nose, but not fully. As they head through the second part, it's going to be about the exit now, and that's a later apex for Kevin Druin. Now the run to 130R. It's going to be ever so important. Charles still in defense, and he did get a reasonable exit there. He's driven off the corner very well. This is where he made a mistake last lap, and he's gone wide a little bit again. Druin has the run. Charles defending the inside. It's late on the brakes from Druin, but he can't pull up alongside, but he has now a better line for the exit. He's going to have a run towards turn 1. This is going to be critical corners now with 4 minutes remaining. 2 laps to go. Druin still on the hunt. He's been chasing tail for 32 seconds, and it comes down to this. The final 2 laps of this race. It's all now kicking off Lexus on Lexus. And it is going to be a blockbuster finish here. Druin waiting to the last possible moment. He's been waiting in the wings. He's been closing. And Charles, I'll tell you what, he's getting a shuffle on now. He's up on his personal best lap time. So he knows this is the time, if any, to give it everything he has to hold on for the win. The 100 car versus the 614. 2 tenths not even between the two as they head through the S section towards the Degners. Surely a hairpin move could be on the cards here for Druin. He showed the nose last lap but didn't commit to it. Now's his chance to try and take the lead here on the penultimate lap. Heading now towards the hairpin, through the king towards us. Surely Charles defends the inside. He leaves the door open, but Kevin doesn't go for it. Kevin knows he has time. He knows he has the pace. What Charles could be hoping for here potentially is the fact that Stevens could get involved if they close up, but I don't think they're quick enough lap by lap to close up by next lap, but it will be the white flag flying next one round. So this is critical for Charles. He needs to hold on. It's wide from Druin. That's going to be a time loss there through the exit, but he's going to have a slingshot onto the straight. The lap Ferrari is right there. The blue flag's lying in wait if they're needed as they head towards 130R. Actually, we could not be on the penultimate lap. It looked nearly perfect here but it could be a different story. It could be too late. It could be still 2 more laps to go. And Kevin's wide. Kevin's on the outside. He's on the AstroTurf. As we head now through the Casio Triangle. And I think by the looks of it, oh no, next lap will be the last lap. So, heading on to the last lap. It's a blockbuster moment here for Charles. He's lost 32 seconds to the car behind. He hasn't had the pace, but he's defending with his life. Kevin giving it everything. They're both making mistakes, and it's one more lap to decide the victory here. Lexus on Lexus, here in Slipstream International, brought to you by Sensational TV, and it's all gonna come down to this. This is the dream scenario for Druin to get the win on the last lap. It'd be Charles's nightmare to lose it here. As they head through the S's, they've surely got to be thinking strategically here. Kevin knows when he goes for it. He knows when he can't go for it. Charles, however, doesn't know when Kevin's going to go for it, and I don't think he knows how much he has freedom to defend. He knows that he isn't braking as late, but he also knows that he has the lead on the final lap of the race. This is critical. There's a slow McLaren. It's Lewin who's slow in front of them. He surely won't get in the way. White flags are flying. This is into the hairpin. Will Kevin Druin go for it? No, he won't. Oh, but they're alongside. They touch there. It's contact there between the two leaders. Charles and Druin separate out by about 0.6 of a second. It was slow on the exit for Charles, and that's actually helped him instead of hindering him. Charles has gotten breathing space, and I think that little mistake, that little backup, that parking it on the apex might have just been the nail in the coffin as they head onto the straight. All he has to do is hold on through 130R in the Casio Triangle, but he has Druin, who's close so quickly, and he's now trying to attack. That gap is 0.4 into the Casio Triangle. Will we see a last lap send for the win? Into 130R, Charles leads from Druin, who has the run into the Casio Triangle. Charles defends the inside. They're wheel to wheel they go. It's steep from both of them. Druin has a good cutback. Charles parks it, and just in the nick of time, the checkered flag falls. Charles, against the odds, holds on to the race victory. He's going to win the 2.4 hours at Suzuka. What a defensive effort from Charles Byron to hold on from Kevin Druin. What a race. He didn't have the pace, but it was a case of absolute commitment there. It was David versus Goliath, and David won. Charles Byron comes home to win the race from Kevin Druin. Take an absolute bow, Charles. That was fantastic and well played all around. And I'll tell you what, you're not going to see much closer than that every day. He is absolutely elated to hold on to that one. Fantastic stuff, and I'm sure he'll be celebrating. It did not look likely he was going to hold on to that one. But as the tyres, I think, just fell away on Kevin, he didn't go for it too much, and yeah, Charles placed his car to perfection. So what a way to hold on as the session is done and dusted. People just making their way towards the line now, but most people have crossed the line. Sam Austin now crossing the line. It's a Lexus 1, 2, and 4 in this race. Jaden Lee, he's come home for a P3. Fantastic stuff from him to hold on a podium for ERD. What a finish of this race it was. And I can't stress this enough. What a performance that was from Charles to hold on. He did not have pace whatsoever, and he managed to do it. So, bringing it home for Pit Viper. Fantastic effort, and that is what Sensational TV broadcasters do. We get the job done when push comes to shove. So, congrats to Charles and his teammate on bringing that one home, and he's just bringing it home. So, Charles from Druin, from Jaden Lee, from Sam Austin, from Dawson, then Stevens, Perkins, Fraser, Fayuna, Ben Mead, Tularam, Life, Johnston, Lewin, Turner, Ohm, Lewis, Beluga, Begg, and Jaeger is your final result. I've been Lindsay Muddle in the commentary box, and frankly, that was an absolutely cracking finish to proceedings. Thank you for Zach O'Reilly for joining me for a big chunk of this race. I couldn't have finished it off without you. And thank you for everybody watching this Sensational TV broadcasters. There's the donuts from Charles. And on that note, thank you everybody for watching, and keep it flat out.